We interrupt this program with a special report.
I got a message for all you folks out there in Radio Land. So sit tight and bend an ear.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the greatest show on earth, the Manga Monday Show. My name is Edgar.
Last week we slandered that opening. It's a banger. I'm sorry. I listened to it.
It's much better now.
I listen to it like in the car
Yeah.
ride. Every time I get in the car and just the opening, I'm like, yeah, I'm Ben.
The full version is really good.
Yeah, the full version
Like,
is really good.
Yeah, there's like a part where like you listen to it and it sounds like you're ascending, like literally.
Yeah. It's great. It's great.
It's really good. All those songs deserve like a second listen.
Yeah, they definitely.
I mean, that's how most anime songs go.
Yeah.
But
My Hero one still isn't great, but that's all
yeah.
right. That's all right.
But it is great. I watched the dub, which is great.
Yeah.
The dub was great. Chainsaw Man's dub still hasn't come out. I think even still by the point of this, like once this gets released.
It's coming out next week.
Yeah. That's just so. I mean, I just don't get it. I just like don't. We talked. I said this pretty much every time we mentioned Chainsaw Man. I just don't understand why some anime they're like, oh, you're getting a symbol dub, and then some like the biggest ones you're like, no, let's wait.
Yeah, especially since when I auditioned for the OG characters in Chainsaw Man, like it was
ahead to the point where I'm like, oh, they're gonna symbol dub.
early August.
Yeah,
early August, which is like 2 months before. So you
Literally.
thought that they would, symbol dub it, but I don't know. Like it was really interesting. It didn't even the trailer. The trailer sounded like they were especially the guys, they had cheap microphones. It sounded like they might have recorded that from home.
Makima, while she sounds really good, it sounds like she's in a box.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And if you listen, and in some actors, sometimes that's the case. I like the one thing I've very noticed about season 4 Attack on Titan's dub, John's character, while really great, he sounds like he's in a box the entire time.
Yeah,
it's so different from everyone else.
It's interesting that you say Jean, because I mean he's directing it at Chainsaw Man, Mike McFarlane.
Yeah, everyone sounds like I mean, he sounds fine as an actor, and everyone else, his quality is like really good. But when you hear him, it sounds like he's in a literal box. Like
yeah, and it might just be a difference of space, or it might have been like that day when he was recording, like a sound panel wasn't in the right place, so it just sounded weird,
It's all it takes is one panel. Like,
yeah, which is always like, if you can record in the studio, in a professional studio, just do that.
Yeah.
Unless you have, a $2,000, studio. But yeah, I mean, like my auditions, they sound good, but like I would never record in my closet, because it would be
You're
difficult.
like, can I record like over there, please? Like, can I do it in my closet?
I mean, when I started working at Crunchyroll, it was super weird because nobody was working at Crunchyroll. They were all working at home because of COVID, but I couldn't because I'm not a
you don't have that
voice actor.
You don't have that kind of thing.
And so I went in and there was nobody there. It was kind of eerie. Like now you go in and
is Crunchyroll real?
Yeah, and you go in now and it's like a well-oiled working machine. Even more so now since the merger happened.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's great.
What's been going on with you lately, Ben?
Just before we move on, did you catch in the English dub Mirko?
What's up, Doc?
What's up, Doc? Oh my god!
There's some things that dubs add that
I
just
love
like make sense.
I love it.
It's really, really good.
It made me smile.
It's like in the Love Is War dub, the narrator he says a few hours later.
Oh,
like,
really?
He literally just says, even though in the sub it has no.
Ian Sinclair.
Yeah,
dude,
like,
that's great.
Like there's
that's
just
great.
things that dubs add that just make sense. Like
beautiful, beautiful. Yeah. I've been good. Super duper busy.
Yeah.
Super duper busy.
Yeah.
I finished up a show
recently.
huge, way huger than I thought it was going to be. So many people.
Where
there
was this last
night.
performance? Because if I remember correctly, you go to different locations, right?
Yeah. So this last one was at a place called the Wild Detectives, which is
That a book place?
It's
Is that a book bar? Book store?
It
bar?
is a kind of book bar. It's not a bookstore. It's a book bar / coffee shop / patio.
Yeah, I remember
area.
Sarah. She, a friend of ours, she mentioned it to me. I'm like, that sounds cool. But that's really cool that you held it in a place like that.
Yeah, it was in Bishop Arts, and Bishop Arts is weird. If you've ever been to Dallas and been to Bishop Arts is weird because it's a mix. It's literally Dallas in a nutshell. I've seen a meme that's like Dallas, and it just says Dallas, and it was like a really, really nice house, and right next to it is a really rundown, broken house, and you're like, that is Dallas.
It's also LA.
Like, yeah, exactly.
Like most, yeah.
Like, it's just the discrepancy, and Bishop Arts is literally that. Like, it's a nice shopping center, and then you drive a little bit too far down the right side of the road, and you get into a really shady neighborhood.
Where am I?
And then you drive to the left side of the road, you get to these really nice apartments, and then you drive. But, like, Bishop Arts, like, it's this really nice area, but also there are houses next to it, and people are just hanging out and living there, and you're like, this would be an awful place to live because it's always so loud. The parking is awful. Yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, we had like, I think 100 people like in this small area.
Wow.
And it was, I wasn't very pleased with my performance just because it was getting kind of cold. And I only wore, and I didn't expect it to get cold.
Oh, yeah.
If you haven't been to Texas, it doesn't get cold in October.
We just got a cold front as recording.
And I mean, tomorrow it's going to, like,
It'll
right
be
now.
fine. Like, it never happened.
Yeah, today's in the lows, the 40s, and high in the 60s, so I'm wearing a nice jacket, But tomorrow it's going to high as 88. So like, it was just unexpected, and I was getting a little bit jittery, and so I spoke really fast. But
okay.
I still had really good moments where I made the audience laugh and stuff like that, so that was great. I just don't think it was the best that I could have done. When you're performing Shakespeare, you really need to savor and salve the words, to really make the audience understand what's going on.
Yeah, it's a certain it factor that to nail Shakespeare dialogue and acting, and it's great when it hits.
Yeah,
like,
and I try to find that middle ground where I really hit and savor those words, but then also have that middle ground of acting on the impulse, making it sound like something I would always say. Because some actors, they just go full Shakespearean, and that's fine. But for me, it's always been about acting on the impulse and reacting and making the audience understand what I'm saying, but also making them feel like, oh, this is something that also I would say.
Yeah.
So
to make it sound natural.
Yeah. Exactly. Because when you say pure in piety and in pious purity, you don't want to be pure in piety and pious pure, but you just want to really chill it out. That's why I even sit on my American accent even harder.
Literally,
when I do Shakespeare.
I think like a great test for that is literally like the Hamlet monologue. If you can get that naturally, like 100%, you nailed like Shakespeare dialogue.
Well,
like,
I know plenty of British actors. Most of the time when I see them perform it, they kind of just speak it out. Like, my favorite To Be or Not to Be speech is Benedict Cumberbatch. He just did it. He just did To Be or Not to Be, and he just said it. And I mean, he's such a good actor that, like, the words flowing like that, it's great.
I know the actor who plays, speaking of Benedict Cumberbatch, in the show Sherlock with Benedict Cumberbatch, the actor from Moriarty also does the To Be or Not to Be in Hamlet. When he plays Hamlet, that one's really good. You should check out. It's also really natural, and he does it in his own way. Great actors. Great.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Great. Yeah.
Other than all the shows that we're about to talk about, like, real quick.
Well, I started editing and making my own videos, so there you go.
Oh yeah, you said you're going to do on your own YouTube channel.
I did.
Yeah, I'll get to plug that in soon.
Yeah, and I was like,
how is it?
I was like, Chainsaw Man's going on right now, and I was like, I'll just do that, and I did it, and it was a lot of fun, and it took me like,
you finished?
It took me 2 days. Yeah, I did
okay.
it. I'm doing it once a week for every episode, and it releases every Sunday.
Okay, so it should be out by now, like by the,
it should be out by here, so there should be 2 episodes.
All right, so go check that out. We'll put that in the link. Go check out Ben's video.
I had a big audition. I
Can
can't
you
talk
say?
about.
Oh,
No.
no. Well,
I
you'll
can
tell
never,
me
I,
afterwards.
yeah, I
like,
can never talk about it. But yeah, I had a big audition, so we'll see how that happens.
Ooh, saucy.
Salsa. And yeah, it was really, really good. A really
Yeah.
good past couple of days.
I'll
how
tell
about
you. Yeah, I'll tell you how my week went. Really good. More writing, anime watching, but I got to see Trash Taste live.
Oh, nice.
My favorite #1 podcast ever.
except for the
it's
Maya
really-
Monday show.
Oh no,
right?
yeah, of course it was. What are you talking about, man? Clearly, I know, but what got me like into podcasts was like the Trash Taste, and it was so, like like you ever follow someone so religiously like
Yeah.
online. I feel like big celebrities or big bands don't really count, but Trash Taste was so like. I don't know. I guess like I don't know. Seeing like another YouTuber like that you really like, and if you
Yeah.
see them in real life, you're like, they're real. Like they're in front of me,
Oh my
and I
God.
had close seats too. So I'm like,
Yeah.
this is like, I don't know. It's kind of like a surreal moment, like a human moment.
Mm-hmm.
But it was really really fun. They kind of inspired me. I mean, obviously, like we came up with the idea to make a podcast, but what like made me say like, yeah, I can do it because I took ideas and like it seemed really fun that I wanted to try out. And Trash Taste was like is like my favorite podcast, and like the kind of like a not a goal, but like a kind of like a man, I kind of wanted to be like them, or like I kind of want to do something like that and join in on the fun.
When we made this podcast, because the reason why I do it, and the kind of the people who are to your Trash Taste is my Mr. Sunday Movies, is he's the one who I really, really enjoy. And they have a podcast called The Weekly Planet, where they talk about all things movies, comic books, and all that stuff. And I was like, I want to do that, but for manga, which is why we do the news segments similar to how they do. But I mean, really, we took the idea of Trash Taste and the idea of The Weekly Planet and just kind of meshed it together to make this manga anime.
Yeah, we talk about anime
extravaganza.
while they jokingly say that they don't like talking about anime, which is really funny.
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, but what their major clips are, they invite celebrities on and then they
Ask
talk
what
about their anime takes.
That's like that one, but that's one of the easiest way to get along with people nowadays. Like, what do you like? I like this. No, I hate that. And that's really funny.
Are they still living in Japan?
Yeah, they are.
Yeah,
They're just on
okay.
tour for the U.S. and
Oh, is that why they were able to like interview people like Ludwig and stuff like that?
yeah.
Okay.
And apparently Dallas was the biggest show they will ever have, at least for the U.S. tour. So that was really cool.
Oh wow.
It was at the Majestic Theater. It was really cool. It was a very niche experience. Like,
the Majestic
yeah.
in Fort Worth.
No, in Dallas, the Majestic Theater.
Oh, the Majestic. I should know
What were
that.
you thinking?
I should know that I performed in the Majestic.
What'd you perform there?
I did. What was it? It was a.
I have
was-
so many shows I can't even remember them
Well,
anymore.
hey man, it's getting
Hamilton.
it's getting to that
Phantom of
point.
the Opera.
It's not
too many.
Hamilton.
No, I know.
It's getting to that point. It wasn't a full blown show.
no,
but
no,
it was
yeah.
it was a small thing. But I've been.
But
I
that's a
performed in the Majestic.
cool stage
Yeah.
to perform in. Really big.
Oh yeah, I saw Whose Line Is It Anyway live there. It was really great.
Nice.
God, it was one of my favorite performances I've ever seen. It was really good.
Yeah, but the Trash Taste, they just joked around, interact with the audience. It was like big, like wow, you're like celebrity and real, but also this is like a really niche audience, so it felt special.
Yeah.
So really fun. Other than that, nothing else pretty much happened. I finished obviously Skypiea, not recently, but I've been reading on after that, and it's getting pretty good.
Awesome.
It's a better start than it was when I started the Skypiea saga. So I hope.
Do you know what
just,
arc it's called?
I finished
I
the
gotta check it
Foxy
out.
Pirate one. The one, like literally, it's only like 19 chapters. It's in the Water 7 saga, and I think it's the arc right before Water 7.
Yes.
So Foxy something. They're the Foxy Pirates. At least that's what the group name is. I don't know if that's what the arc name is.
Oh, is this the one with those long animals?
Oh yeah, the long. I think that it's called Long Ride Long Land arc. That is a tongue twister.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's on the like the interconnected islands, and then there's like long animals, and then there's like an old guy
So
who
did,
like, got left
did,
behind.
did you see a certain warlord? Not warlord.
Admiral?
Admiral?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you know his name?
No.
No, you don't. Okay. Okay.
I don't. They revealed his
But
name. I just don't know it.
But
Like,
you know, it's Aokiji. Is his name, and he's a popular. He's a fan favorite among the fan base.
Nice.
And he has the ice fruit,
I thought it was Frost or something.
Ah, whatever. Frost, Ice, Chill, or something like that.
Ice
whatever.
Baby, who cares?
Yeah. You got it.
Yeah, but that was really cool. But this week, we're not going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about the one before it. We'll get to that in a second. Ben, let's get into some quick hot D, because some pretty hot stuff
Before
happened.
we go into hot D,
okay, yeah.
I'm so sorry. There's so much to talk about today.
Oh no, yeah.
The Manga Monday show. We're
Oh yeah, you want to talk about
we're
this?
We're viral.
Yeah,
we are. And,
we're famous now.
And I only say viral in the sense of, like I was
like,
talking to
5
Lauren.
subscribers is
I was
like
talking
great.
to Lauren last night. I went, we're viral if we get something over 50,000 views, right?
Yeah.
That counts as viral, and it's not gonna stop there. It's not gonna stop.
Really get much higher.
So remember a couple weeks ago, Edgar, I was like, there's not gonna be a Shonen Junk this week, and I made this meme. Can I post it on YouTube? And you were like, yeah, fine. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna post it on Instagram as well.
Oh, you did.
When I first did it, first week it got maybe 900, 800 views, like 3 likes. But there was one hashtag that I used. It was like a lesser known hashtag, but it was known just enough to have somebody get it. And people shared it and continued to share it and continued to share it and continued to share it. Shared it so much, in fact, that over 4,228 people have shared it on their stories.
Whoa.
And over 45 people have commented on it. Over 1,798 people have shared it, have saved it on their memories or on their things. It has 5,751 likes, 55,406 accounts have seen it. And and it continues to grow. So this is, and I had to turn off my notifications on Instagram because it gets 4 likes every minute of every day. This is what all of our notifications
Oh, that was
looks
2
like.
seconds ago.
This
Jesus.
is 2 seconds ago, and if you refresh it, you will see a new like probably every like.
This is like
every
when
second.
Barney like gave his phone number out and How I Met Your Mother.
Oh,
He was getting-
yeah,
his
I
like phone
remember.
was going off like crazy.
It was like that. And Instagram, I stopped Instagram Reels because like our most recent ones,
They weren't getting
like,
too hot.
No, they weren't getting too hot, and I think Instagram changed their thing. So I'm waiting for them to bring it back, and then we can do that stuff. But also, we're growing well on YouTube, and that's the main goal. The YouTube and the Spotify, that's where we want to grow.
Yeah, it's the podcast. Yeah,
But
and then the Shonen Junks.
But
That was just really shocking. Yeah.
but we got 20 new followers on Instagram, and I was like, what the?
Are memes the answer?
Yeah, are memes the answer?
Yeah.
They are.
Yeah.
I mean, that is.
Yeah.
And maybe uploading a meme once a week on Instagram isn't a bad idea, especially if they're of good quality. People will continue to share it and will go, hey, that's right, that's same, true, all that stuff.
And then you get to be like, shameless plug, check out the podcast.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I mean, dude.
Inconspicuously.
I mean, dude, to be honest, like in terms of unique viewers, like most of the people who are watching our podcast are unique, are viewers who are coming back, and we thank them for that. But unique viewers for this most recent podcast we just uploaded are already on the high numbers, so that's great.
That's great. Thank you guys for joining the gang, joining the wagon. Bandwagon we got here.
Okay, Hearts of the Dargan.
Hearts of the Hingadingadurgan.
Hearts of the Dingan.
So the king is dead,
The
unfortunately.
king is dead.
The king is dead.
Viserys, the peaceful, is gone. What did he say? What did he say?
What did he say?
Aegon will be king. What did he say?
Well, you mean like...
What? I
Like, all the
do
way in the back,
appreciate
like-
though that I feel like George Martin or somebody went. I hate it in TV shows where like where somebody's talking to a large crowd and goes, oh, and somebody's like, what the?
I think
there's
it
no
literally...
way,
there's a joke like that in Kung Fu Panda 2. Prepare to feel the wrath.
Yeah.
And he's like, what?
What? Yeah, exactly.
he's like so far away. Like,
Yeah, it's great. I love that. But in this, it felt like Rhys Ifans really brought that theatrical.
the bad, it was like a bad guy speech, but
Yeah,
like
exactly. He really brought that like, and I mean, I love Rhys Ifans, but
he's great.
I felt like it was a really good, Really, really good. I feel like at least 50% of the audience would have been able to hear him. You know.
Yeah.
So I think that's great.
Yeah, but the king is dead and the chess pieces are not moving like really
Yeah.
fast. And
Good shot of the Iron Throne at the beginning there with like the dark lighting and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that blonde kid was like another son of Viserys. I'm like, wait a minute. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense.
I thought it was like I thought what they were gonna do was it was like a flashback of Viserys as a kid or something.
I thought that too. Yeah,
Like I thought it was just gonna be him like being happy and stuff, and it was gonna like show him like walking up to him dead or something. I thought they were gonna do something weird with it, but no, he was just going up to Talia and being like, "King dead," you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, and that's really sad, and this really shows. This was a tense episode. This was also an episode where everything that happened in it didn't happen in the books, or they happened in different ways. So Lord Beesbury died, and I actually kind of wish that they kept how he died in the books. Krispy Kreme throws him out of a window.
Throws him for what reason?
Oh, because the same reason.
The same reason?
Yeah. Because he's like, this is treason, you know. Like he's known Viserys as long as any of you, and Krispy Kreme grabs him and throws him out of the window. And
yeah, for people who don't know, when he says Krispy Kreme, it's Kristen Cole. I feel like we said that so many times. Like, wait, what are they talking about?
Crispin Kyle. Yeah.
No,
indeed. But yeah, so
yeah, he kills. He just they're in the
he
green.
impales him with his ball, bro.
Were those balls always there? I was like, what?
Yeah,
what,
dude,
what are
those balls have been there the entire show.
Oh, I never noticed them.
They're like, I think there's just supposed to be like a device of like clocking in, you know, kind of thing.
Let me just clock in for the day.
Yeah.
But
exactly.
yeah, the Green Council like scene, really good. And then like the tone set in like we're gonna do something like we're gonna make our move now was like when he says like should we move the body, and it's like those stores stays closed until we finished our discussion. I'm like, ooh, what the heck?
Exactly.
Yeah, we're just gonna straight up usurp like the throne. And all
Yeah,
that.
and I mean that's what they've been doing. While
Yeah, they're
Viserys
behind
has been-
Allison's
yeah.
back too. Like,
Yeah, exactly. And I mean like. Yeah, those guys are douchebags. Like the Lannister who is there, Thailand, I think his name is, or I forgot which one is Thailand. I know one of them is Thailand.
Yeah, they're both twins, so they look similar. Like,
yeah, so they're twins, but he is like when we first see him, he's kind of just wearing base Lannister armor. And he kind of seems like he's hardworking and all that stuff. But now in this episode, he's wearing all these jewels. And he's kind of acting more Lannister-like, He's kind of a pompous kind of, why did Dorne invade? He's kind of acting like that, and it kind of makes me think, oh, okay, so as he's gotten more power, he's become more like his brother, his pious, his just absolutely insufferable Lannister style.
The usual, yeah.
Yeah. So this guy's name, who's right next to Alicent Hightower, he's this dude. He's the dude who said, "We don't want to sully you with these secrets, Queen."
Yeah.
Who kind of has like the curly hair. His name is so interesting. He has a name called Ironrod. He's Jasper Wild, and of course the Wilds are. I believe that they own Case. Maybe they don't, but I know that they own somewhere in the Crownlands or the Westerlands, and he is called Ironrod because he's so strict. However, in the books, the Jester, Mushroom, says he's called Ironrod because of his stiff. And he had.
How would he know that?
He had 4 wives, right? And 29 children. He killed 3 of his wives because he had so many children.
If you thought Viserys was bad for making his wife have too many kids or try to have too many kids,
this guy's the worst.
Yeah,
and
bro.
It's not even counting all of his bastards that he has. So he has so many people.
Yeah.
Like I hate this dude just from the context that I know in the books.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's crazy. And it was insane. What'd you think about Harold Westerling? His stance against Krispy Kreme and
Oh, the guy who died?
No, that's Lord Beesbury. Harold Westerling, he was the Lord Commander of the Kingsguard, who said put down your sword, Sir Kristen. He played Dwalin in The Hobbit.
Oh yeah.
And he pulled off his white cloak and stuff. Awesome kind of Barristan Selmy moment there. Really cool.
Well, I think this guy just like, oh, I should have quit. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, Barristan Selmy is like, yeah, you're gonna be let go. No, I'm leaving. Like, you know, because they were like mid-firing him.
Yeah.
They were like, basically.
Yeah. Well, they said they were like, yeah, you're gonna get out of there. And I loved Barristan. The way the show did him was absolutely so dirty.
Oh, during the Sons of the Harpy.
He's still alive in the books.
Oh.
And he's such a cool character. And I love that scene. It's one of my favorite scenes in season 1 is where they were like, yeah, you can retire in this nice little castle. And he was like, and you'll have all these servants. And he was like, a castle to die in and people to bury me and stuff. And I was like, oh God.
Yeah.
And
he just made it sound not good.
yeah, exactly. And when he was like, and when they made fun of him because when he took off his clothes and he was like, I am a knight.
Yeah, so it's kind of like a reminiscent of that,
Yeah.
what this guy did.
Yeah, but
So-
that speech where he was like, I could carve any of you like a cake, even at this moment, I was like, God, it's so good. But yeah, he had that moment at Harold Westerling. And I think that also puts into play because he protected Rhaenyra.
Surprised Kristen. Obviously, it's because of Alicent, but like normally Kristen would be like fired or something, or like punished in a sense. He's killed 2 people in front of witnesses without any consequence. So you just get away with stuff as usual.
But I mean, I guess you could always just make the excuse that they were a danger to the crown, which they could.
Yeah,
be.
he was he was outnumbered in a room that was like about to move forward by installing a new king, and he was protesting.
And Otto, like, he kills people this episode. Like he goes, let the king's justice take him. And I'm like, what king? Like, no, your justice. There's no king right now.
At least not yet.
You know?
Like,
exactly.
You know?
Like there is no king. Like he just killed Casper. I don't know what his name was.
There was the guy who tried to leave.
The bald dude. Yeah. Who was.
And I would
friendly to
assume the one that they escorted. No, they just put him in the dungeon, right? The ones that just like didn't want to straight up at first. They just took him to the dungeon.
I don't know.
They might have just killed him.
They might have just killed him. I think.
Yeah.
Which I mean, which would make sense. But I mean, like this is. I don't know about this, Otto. This is bad. This is to the sense, if you don't kill all of them, then their brothers or their nephews or their sons are going to come after you. And this is how you make enemies. This is why, in the long run, the Red Wedding was a bad idea. Yeah. Like, it was, like, overall, like, Tywin thought he was just like, okay, we're going to kill all of them, and it'll be okay.
Yeah.
But in the long run, you've made an enemy of the entire North, you know?
I will put a note on that in a second when we move forward. But
okay.
Yeah, that is a good point to make, that, killing people have consequences.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's a real struggle between the Hand and the Queen, Otto and Alicent. Like, Aegon's gone. That's funny. Aegon's not there.
Aegon.
And they're like... I noticed like things like it's like when Otto is like go find them, take off your cloaks. I'm like, oh yeah, yes, usual, of course, and bring them to me only. I'm like, oh, what the
cool characters, right? Eric and Arc.
Yeah, more twins.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're not confused enough already.
Yeah, there's a lot of twins in this series. Yeah.
Yeah, they go off to find them while Alicent sends Kristen and Aemond volunteers to help as well find them. And I really like the dialogue that goes on between the two, like all the while short. He's like, if I were like they talk about like we have to struggle and fight for like our positions and power and what to like. I have a dragon I've worked in and blah 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 blah, and he is the king. He's like and he basically says like it's basically saying that he wants to be king. And he's like, why are we rescuing him? I mean, he wants to go rescue him. But he's like, why are we? You know what I mean? Isn't this dumb?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, why are we doing this? But they end up finding him. Before they find him, what do you think of that chick with the white worm, the white worm chick, the one who had Aegon
Oh, the
The
White
one-
Worm? You mean
the French chick, the French
yeah,
action chick.
she was with Damon
Yeah,
earlier, yeah.
yeah.
Mazaria, I think is her name. She
What I really kind of I was like, what's the point of this? Like,
yeah,
I was
she
like-
has a big part in the books.
oh, she does.
Um
Because I was
yeah.
like, this feels like filler if this isn't all filler enough already.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I'm
I
like-
mean, it kind of was, but it was interesting filler. Like, I like the interminable infighting, between these two.
yeah, she like
Um,
says, "I'll give you him if you promise that all these like fights
Yeah.
between children and child slaves
I-
like stops."
What I really love is how dark the series is getting. Whereas in the Game of Thrones show, it never really got to that fantasy. Because Dan and Dave, they've stated before that they were embarrassed to make fantasy, so they tried to make Game of Thrones more, kind of like a modern day drama.
a bunch of chumps. Look what that got them.
Yeah, idiots. And so now we see really, really, like, in the books, there's like kaiju monsters, like the gods are like awful. There are like underwater creatures, there are green seer jesters who are crazy. It's really dark. The books are really dark. And in this, we see a children fight pit.
Yeah.
Which I was just like, oh my god, this is the most Westeros thing I think I've
I
ever
thought
seen.
the kids were gonna fight like some
It's like
pig or some.
Pokemon.
Yeah, right? I thought they were gonna be fighting some animal.
Yeah.
Like, oh no, each other. Okay,
Yeah.
like, that's not good.
Don't you also think it's interesting how Aegon, he's a monster, right?
Yeah.
He's such a monster that kind of towards the episode
He's not a good person,
Yeah. He's the worst person.
Yeah.
Right? He goes to these child fight rings and he makes bastards there and he watches these children fight and he bets on them and he rapes his wife and handmaidens, and he does all these awful things, but we never actually see him do it.
Yeah.
And I think that plays really well to his character because we have those people who we've met in real life who you're like, oh, he seems like a nice guy, and somebody comes up to you and goes, no, he's done this and this and this, or she's done this and this and this, and you're
Yeah.
like,
What?
oh, and you're
Yeah.
like, uh-oh, but you don't ever see it.
Yeah,
you
even
know?
when the girl said, even with the girl who was like crying and like hysterical because of what what Aegon did to her, we don't even see that scene.
Yeah.
As brutal as we don't want it to be, we don't want to see
Yeah.
that scene, but it's still like is a subtle, not a subtle way, but you know what I mean?
Mm.
Like it's not showing you, but it's just like
Yeah,
like
dude.
one scene you hear the things he does, and then you see him. And
And
when if you saw him alone, you'd be like, "Wow, this guy's kind of misunderstood."
Yeah, exactly. And he's
but like,
relatable.
but
like,
we
he's
know
like,
all the
yeah.
things that he is and what
Yeah.
he does, So
And-
what makes him
And
horrible?
it's so bad that it kind of makes you be like, yeah, maybe Aemon should be king. Like maybe this one-eyed, psychopath.
So far, he hasn't done anything completely wrong, technically.
That
Horribly.
is true. He hasn't done anything horrible.
Yeah.
But just wait.
We'll
Just wait a
figure.
couple
Yeah.
episodes,
Okay. Yeah. We'll wait.
He
He wants to be Damon for one.
Yeah,
for Damon
of
for
course,
one thing.
of
So
course,
we know
which
how
is
that goes.
already dangerous.
Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
know how that goes.
So yeah, I mean, not a lot happens.
Aegon not
kinda in
wanting to-
between that.
Yeah, Aegon not wanting to be king was like real interesting. I mean,
Yeah.
all he wants is like his mother's, just their parents' love,
Yeah.
essentially from what we see, like in
Yeah.
which
he
is
kind of just wants to be
normal.
noticed, Yeah.
It's the classic rich people don't want to be rich and poor people want to be, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah, it's like I don't want power, I just want blank and blank, and like,
yeah.
you know what I mean?
And it was really it was.
And
really
Aemon was
crazy.
like, I have the perfect chance, like to just let you go or
Yeah.
just kill you,
and he
but-
doesn't do it.
yeah.
He just doesn't do it. Which I also think he's kind of like, yeah, maybe being king would suck. Because, this is the tragedy of Game of Thrones is that all these people are playing the Game of Thrones, but the more power you get, like,
the less you want it.
yeah, the more in danger you get and stuff like, which I always think it's so funny that John's like, I don't really want more power, but people continue to push
Dude,
him into positions of
This
power.
this guy is the king of I don't want it.
Yeah,
He
exactly.
literally does not want it. I like it.
Exactly.
Yeah, but they captured Aegon, and
Mhm.
there was like a small fight, that happened, and one of the twins was like, "Oh, I'm out of this. Like, I'm done." You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
And then Otto was like, "Oh, well played. We're on the same side, blah 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 blah."
Mm.
But clearly Otto wanted him so he can like groom Aegon.
Kind of creepy too when he said you look like your mother, and
He's like,
in
"God,
certain
you're hot
ways."
right now." It's
Yeah,
basically what he's
exactly,
saying.
Exactly, that is what he's saying. Yeah.
But that's not as creepy as what the next scene follows. With the strong with the strong guy.
Feet pick at Lara Strong.
Larry
yes.
Strong, yeah. I saw Blind Wave react to it, and I forgot what the
They were
member was.
they were like, what?
No, but like one of them, the one on the far right, I forget what his name is, the one with the glasses on the far.
Oh, yeah,
on the-
yeah.
He was like, I don't know if it was Rick, the far right.
Yeah.
And it's
right.
Eric, Aaron, Calvin, and
It's Eric, Aaron, Rick, Calvin.
so the far right is Rick.
No, the in the middle is Rick. The far right is Eric.
Eric. So
Yeah.
Eric was the one that said, this is a YouTube channel that reacts to like anything, like
Yeah.
anime, TV shows, and I was watching them, and I usually watch them because they have great they talk about the show in great discussion and like
Yeah.
have funny reactions to it. But they said like, this is like the first OnlyFans for
Yeah,
like
it is.
information. And I'm like,
It
oh my
is.
god, that's true.
It's feet picks.
But it's so sad how as really just uncomfortable that scene is. It's kind of sad, like you're queen, and you have
Mhm.
to do this still to like, you know what I mean? Like
to stay in
not
power,
even.
yeah.
This wouldn't fly by with Cersei. Like I
No.
probably wouldn't like happen. She'd be
No.
like, "Oh no, I'll kill you if you just don't tell me." You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
exactly. Well, Cersei would be like, okay.
Obviously,
you-
Allison
yeah.
isn't that kind of person, but like she has to like do this. I'm like,
Yeah, that's why I was always like, when Cersei allowed Euron to have sex with her, I was like, never would happen. Never.
No.
Never in the books would ever
Yeah.
happen, ever.
But even that's like different
Ever.
than just like this is low. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's one thing, but this is like.
And also, she's like all into the faith of the Seven, and you're like, man, this is not like it just goes to show that maybe her like faith to the Seven is more of like kind of a facade, to
Yeah.
because the High Towers and the faith of the Seven, they go way back. But let's move forward, and then they get to the dragon pit. And wasn't the heraldry of that scene really nice?
Oh, when he gets the coronation.
Yeah, and like they have like
Yeah, it
these
makes you feel like
swords
he's
and stuff.
like, yeah, you know
Yeah,
what I mean?
and
Like,
he's walking by, and the actor did really well with
Yeah.
it, where he was like,
he's like, I guess,
he was
you
like,
know.
this is what it feels like to be special,
Yeah. But I mentioned to you before that I had like, and now that I think about it, it's really not that big of a deal, but it had me scratching my head.
Yes.
With
I
this
have some
scene,
problem with it too. But
with this scene.
yeah.
Before this, we see Rhaenys. She was like kept in
Mm-hmm.
her chambers, and Alicent tried to make a deal, kind of in a sense, said like, if you want to prevent peace, stay here, side with us, or just don't be in the conflict, because like Rhaenyra would want like your dragon.
Some of the best dialogue of the
She's
series so far.
like it should have been you who should have been
Yeah.
queen. It's like Viserys, yeah, that guy was awful.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well,
Like
the line that really stuck with me was when Alicent was like, "Oh, we can't rule, but we can rule through our husbands," and she was like, and Rhaenys was like, "That's cap," and she was like, "You don't want to be free. You just want to build a window in your own prison," and I was like, "Gah." I was like, and it is true. Like
it ties in with that Laris scene, like with the exchanging of information.
Exactly.
How low she has to stoop to go, even though she's queen.
Yeah,
Like,
and even the fact that she's putting her awful, horrible son, who she doesn't even love, on the throne
Yeah.
is still even like
she's
still
like,
even
do you
low.
do you really love me? She's like, you imbecile.
Yeah,
she can't even.
exactly.
She's like, I'm done with you. Like, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
exactly.
Like, are you kidding me? Yeah, but Rhaenys, she gets freed out of her chambers
Yes.
by I don't know who. It's like a nobody, or I don't
No,
know. Not a
it
nobody.
was Eric. It was Eric
really?
Strong.
Oh.
Because one of them is just following orders,
Okay.
and the other one has a moral compass.
Okay, so that was
Yeah.
that one. Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, so he leads her, tries to like get her on a boat, and he says, "I need my dragon." It's like, well, no, you can't. It's too
Well,
late.
no.
Like no, like you want to escape with like just go to the boat, and then but they get like drifted apart because there's a huge crowd heading
Yeah.
towards the dragon's keep.
Awful idea by Eric, by the way, because like the red queen is like I think the second biggest behind Caraxes is the second biggest dragon, or the third biggest dragon. But I think it's, I don't know. There is also another dragon who we haven't seen yet that we'll see next week. But yeah,
But yeah, but she ends up getting there and then sneaking down into the basement. But and the gripe, the one of the gripes I had, I'm like, why? We know what happens, so we know we know what Rhaenys does. So, but it makes you, it's just convenient that why the coronation is held at the Dragon Pit in the first place. It's always held, always held at the Red Keep. Why? We obviously know, so it's just lazy writing to show. And it is a nitpick, but it's just like an excuse for her to so surprise from underneath. You know what I mean? Like
in the books, it until the Dragon Pit is destroyed, which I can't talk about when that happens and what will happen. But until the Dragon Pit is destroyed, coronations happen at the Dragon Pit. It's basically a ginormous coliseum.
But it didn't happen with Rhaenyra. Why didn't it happen there?
Because that wasn't her coronation. That was people swearing, and that was only the lords. Coronations happen with ginormous. Coronations happen immediately after the king dies, and it's just has the people of King's Landing in it, the citizens of King's Landing.
Where was the place where Viserys got sworn in? Was that the Dragon Keep too?
That was
like
not
underground.
That was at Harrenhal.
Oh, okay, that looked like it was underground. I'm like, what is this place?
That was the council at Harrenhal, but that was different because that was nobody knew who was going to be king or queen after Jaehaerys. When Jaehaerys died, Viserys did get it, and his coronation probably happened at the Dragon Pit.
Okay,
but he wasn't.
I didn't know that.
He didn't have a coronation there, but they were having a voting.
Yeah, I'm glad that was cleared up because I thought I was like, big L if that was the case.
But
you just switched it up on like
whoever had the idea to have the coronations, which is how it happens in the books. Whoever had that idea needs to be fired because there are so many dragons under there that could just come up and kill anybody.
Yeah, but Aegon gets inducted, like he becomes king. And then there's a moment of small celebration, at least for them, and like, yeah, maybe this can go well. People actually like me. We have support. Alicent's like, oh, we didn't just usurp. Like, people are supporting us. People like us.
Well, I think mob mentality is such a big part of Game of Thrones.
No, yeah, but they were expecting like a what? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like they were expecting like a different reaction.
When one person claps, like they're all clapping. You know,
but they expected like a full-on riot.
Of course.
Like, justifiably so. But before that happened, a little rain on the parade happens, and by rain you mean dragon, and by parade you mean under the floor.
Death.
Yeah. So she just like she like errands the place, like from Marley. You know what I mean? Like from Attack on Titan. Yeah. She literally does that.
Oh my God, she does do that. Holy
she
crap.
She just like all we were missing was a few military leaders in the midst of that to make it more dangerous.
And he was like doing the stance like that the guy was doing too. Oh my God, like, dude, you're so right.
It's like
exactly.
So
I wonder. Because this didn't happen in the books. Do you think maybe they
saw it?
Write that down. Write that down.
So,
maybe,
and you were mentioning how Kristen, like how like Otto, like they have consequences. I'm sure those are to come by like imprisoning or / killing the people who didn't want to bend the knee. Rhaenys killing these innocent civilians in the capital of Westeros. How people are gonna be mad? At least the people in King's Landing, you just killed people and you're like bye, and then like out
hey, man.
You just at least not entire Westeros, but they might feel indifferent. But the people in King's Landing, they're gonna want some payback or answers.
Yes.
Why she just killed innocents and fled away. Like, you know what I mean?
Definitely. And I think a lot of people on Twitter are like, yes, queen. And
yeah, exactly.
And I'm like, guys, she just murdered a whole bunch of civilians.
And
dude.
If there was any chance of Rhaenyra wanting peace even after this, some like, hey, let's not do this. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You just instantly declared war on their behalf, whether they'd like to or not. Now,
well, yeah.
This is like,
we'll see how that goes.
And it's like, why wouldn't she kill them? You know what I mean? If you really are gonna be like, oh, I want no say in this fight, you literally just had
that's the thing that I had. The two things that I had the most problems with is I don't know how Rhaenys broke through the floor because I'm pretty sure that's like
cement,
like cement,
stone,
like stone. And I'm like, can dragons break through stone? If so, that's kind of broken. But I mean, like OP. But I mean, I guess that they can. I mean,
But
the Red Queen is
just
huge.
standing up is like kind of hard to believe.
It's hard to believe. But if it gives me a cool moment, I'm ready to suspend my disbelief. You know. Yeah, I've seen a couple of things that, number one, I've heard that even though it happens all the time in Game of Thrones, one of the largest sins, and I think the number one sin in Game of Thrones is kinslaying, right? When you kill people of your own blood, that is bad, and your name will be slandered for it. So if she murdered all these Targaryens all at once, you know, it would be bad. Number two, I also don't think it's her decision to make, right? Kill all these people and just kind of screw off. I don't think that's quite what she wanted to do. I think she wanted to show them that, like, look, I have humility. Like, I'm choosing peace. Like, because she doesn't know the future, right?
Yeah.
And if she kills them right now, she denies any possible future. So she has no idea. Now, if you've read the books, she probably should have killed him.
But I mean, I don't know. You are right.
Yeah.
I just feel like a normal, at least in person in power, who knows what's at stake. You either commit or never have done it. You shouldn't have done it.
No,
at
definitely.
All. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
definitely. But that's why I love Game of Thrones, is that people have such indecisions. But I also think the third one, which is the one that I thought when I first watched it, was that she sees herself in Alicent a little bit. And she saw her protecting Aegon, which is fascinating, right? Aegon has the crown of the conqueror. Yeah. He has Black Dark Sister. He has all of this heraldry and all of this kind of dress up by Otto and the Queen, that this is the second coming of Aegon, the best, or the one of the greatest kings ever, and he's hiding behind his mom. You know, and so that's really sad.
Because she's lost everybody.
Yeah.
Well, at least for what she knows. You know what I mean?
What she knows, yeah.
Which is unfortunate. I like that better than just like, but it's still like it's still like a you should have killed him.
You should have killed him. Yeah.
It's like it doesn't make any sense other than like to keep the story going, because like it's because that's not how they die. Like no duh, but that shouldn't be an excuse. But like, but I like that idea that's why she didn't do it. But it just had me scratching my head.
But it was a cool moment when she went like. And then like went out.
Cool armor, by the way. Really cool
awesome armor.
Yeah.
One of my biggest issues with the later seasons of Game of Thrones was that everybody was just wearing like a different hue of gray, you know?
Yeah.
And the costumes were boring.
One of the coolest armors and coolest like fan arts is Robert Baratheon in his like in his yellow like armor outfit. So awesome.
Fighting against Rhaegar Targaryen. Yeah. At the battle of the battle at the Trident. Yeah. Awesome.
Really cool.
Hope we get to see that in live action. I want to see that in live action.
Everyone wants that so bad.
I know.
If you just see like all the like fan art of all the events that transpire around that, really cool.
Dude.
Really cool.
I think after this they're gonna do the Blackfire Rebellion, which is also really cool. But I also want to see the War of the Nine Penny Kings. Yeah. I want to see a young
Those
Tywin.
Are Ben's. Do it for Ben's sake, because he wants to see those done.
I want to see a young Tywin Lannister. If you could do a whole show about Tywin, do it and cast me as Tywin.
Speaking of people we want to see, we're gonna get some Starks if you didn't see like the preview, but really good stuff. And the final episode, of course. So we're gonna get
until 2 years. Hopefully the podcast will still be going at that point.
Yeah. Either way, we're gonna be watching.
We will.
We can't wait. And we can't wait for that. But it's been a really good journey, and I'm really glad that Game of Thrones has got back.
It's back.
Yeah,
baby.
It's back. Yeah,
it's back.
It's officially back. And
did you see in the preview, since you saw it, did you see how cool like the map looks, like the Dragonstone map with the lava flowing through it?
Yeah,
dude, awesome. Like that's what I'm talking about. That's the stuff that Dan and Dave, they were like, no,
too
that's
cheesy
not
or
realistic.
too like
Yeah, it's too cheesy. Don't do it. But in this, it's just it makes me so. It's like so awesome.
Yeah,
like there's just stuff in this that I'm like, this is pure George R.R. Martin. Like when Aemond in the last episode said, wise, brave, strong. Like I was like, God, that is George R.R. Martin to the T.
Yeah.
Like I could read that in the book. It's brilliant. And I think it's it's really, really good. So I'm excited for the final episode.
Yeah, and we'll be talking about it next week. But let's quickly try to get as much as possible. Just talk about
Get through this news.
I was want to talk about the episodes.
What episode?
There's just like the episodes like Chainsaw Man, My Hero.
Oh yeah.
If you want to get up, if you want to get.
Sure, this is just gonna be a long episode.
Oh no, yeah, don't worry. We'll try to see how quick we can get these. Blue Lock, real quick. Really great. They added the scenes that I was complaining about last week.
I didn't see the Blue Lock episode, so you talk about.
Oh, okay.
I haven't seen it yet.
All right, I'll just quickly talk about it.
But I know what happened. So
it's
you
really
can talk
good.
about
We just see that scene with Bachira. They both can't sleep, so they're like kind of practicing. And Bachira explains like, "There's a monster inside of me, and like I want to see what's inside of you." And then kind of Isagi, kind of like, "I want to see what kind of monster I have. Like what's gonna push me forward to become a better player."
Yeah.
But we see the scenes between I forgot her name. The chick. She explains to like the conference like what they're doing, and they're like, "Oh, are you crazy, whatever?" And then there was that soccer player, the professional one, like, "Yeah, Japan sucks. I'm not gonna play for my team. Are you kidding me? There's a bunch of losers over here."
Yeah, he was like, "I would rather train with high schoolers in Germany than perform professionally here."
That's
and
good. I like that.
I'm like, "Hey, man, like, true. Like, to be honest, like, yeah."
No, yeah, like that's like the manga meant. Yeah, Japan sucks.
That's why.
Like,
that's why I always played with Hispanics here, because I wouldn't play with white people because they're not good. You know, like, that's what I'm saying. You know?
No, yeah, but after he hears her speech, is like, "I'm gonna stay. Like, cancel like my future plans. I want to stay here, see what kind of stuff they're cooking up at Blue Lock." Really cool moment. So I would go check it out if you haven't. But they're gonna head up into the next fight. Not next fight, but they're gonna play against Team X, I think, or because they're Team Z, and I think they're going up against Team X, their first game in Blue Lock. So. Really good stuff, and there's a lot of games that I'm like really looking forward to see animated because they're really good, and other characters that get introduced.
I really like how Isagi, that's his name. I really like how Isagi isn't, because a lot of times mangakas go, "Oh, your main character, he's the worst." Like they're like, in this one, Isagi is like the second worst. You know?
No, yeah, but they're good, and it's like in the game of like of tag that they had goes to show that these are all like top tier, and they're the very last. So you can only imagine how what's in the top tier.
But I just really, really like how it's like, okay, he's not the worst, but he's the second worst. You know? Like it was just a little bit of subversion of like what we, because like they were like in My Hero, which Deku, he deserved to be last because he was the worst. Yeah. You know, but they were like, yeah, this kid's the worst. And even when he was kind of powerful, they were like, yeah, Deku's the worst. And I was like, how? I was like, how is he the worst?
There's at a certain point where you can't ignore that kid
I was like,
anymore.
His superpower is literally superpower. Yeah. Like, come on, you know.
His name's in the title. Not really, but like, you know what I mean? But really, that's kind of the whole thing about Blue Lock. Kind of subverts your expectations. Like, it breaks the barriers and like the norms of anime and shonen. Really look forward to the next episode.
Who would have thought of one of the old editors from Attack on Titan? You know, come on.
Really good. Can't wait for that. Spy Family, nothing much happened.
Another editor of Attack on Titan.
Yeah, right. Attack on Titan's like the family tree, you know,
family tree
of Attack on Titan. But we see the episode where Bond gets officially named Bond, which is really fun to play on James Bond. But they name it after Bondman, which is really funny. Yeah. And he has like black paws, like gloves.
Yeah,
you know
like
what I mean?
gloves. Yeah.
But yeah, there's Anya's like, "I got a dog," tells Damon, and Damon is like, "So?"
He's like, "I got like 40.
That should have worked." Yeah, right. Like, but it was a fun scene. Nothing much happens, but like I said, Spy Family is kind of a kickback, like, you know, relaxing type of show.
Until it isn't, Endo. Until it isn't. Listen to me. Until it isn't, it eventually will be.
He will break into the writing room unless if it doesn't happen.
You have the opportunity to make this the best like ending to a manga ever. You do it. You do it. You listen to me.
I'll never forget it.
Yeah. There's no conflict going on right now. Well, there is conflict, but it's really light. And I'm like, but you have the opportunity to make it like really conflictual. So do it. Do it. Do it. Okay. All right. Let's
just do it.
Just do it. Make your dreams. You know.
Yeah, but I think the second biggest, if not the first, I think it's the most emotionally and like the higher stake episode. But it's not the most popular because Chainsaw Man. Yeah. My Hero really did a great job with this episode.
Wow, man.
When I read this chapter, I'm like, wow, you can see there's a turning point. But I didn't feel, I don't remember having much emotions like impacted in reading that chapter. But this episode in the anime really really got it right, and really I really felt sorry for Twice and for Hawks.
Ibukuwara or something.
The real name of it.
Igabakuwara or something like that.
Yeah, with a B or I and like something like that.
Yeah.
Their fight, not really much of a fight, because as OP as Twice is, Hawks is Twice is a bad match against Hawks, because Hawks, his feathers, there's a lot of them, and he can, as long as you get a good hit on Twice as a double, it just takes him out instantly, which is like a perfect matchup,
Yeah. I didn't think he would. I didn't think they would animate it like that well. There were still some moments that I'm like,
I feel like the high points was when Dobby showed up.
Yeah, no, definitely.
When Dobby showed up in the last scene with Twice and
they're really killing like the close-ups, of Hawks and like his shines and like his shadows and stuff.
Yeah.
What I'm very unimpressed with is the lighting of the setting around it.
Yeah.
I just feel like it's so like mundane. Like you couldn't.
You mean inside the room or like?
Yeah,
just,
inside the room,
yeah.
and like I feels like their lighting goes dark room, light room, and I'm like, come on, guys.
That's why one of the things I love about like Fire Force, like shameless plug for one of my favorite series, and just creator in general, is like, even when there's darkness, there's color. Like in the fight between Joker and like the priest guy under the cathedral, it could have easily just been dark, but it was like red all around them.
Yeah.
And when it's in darkness, their eyes glow. Just like small things like that just make all the thing better.
And I feel like we haven't had this problem since last season of My Hero.
Yeah.
Like I felt like if you go back and watch All for One versus One for All, like it looks like it is at dark and it is night, but it has all of these like different things going on. Like you see like the lights from some of like the televisions in the city and stuff like that. So it has this cool stuff going on, but you can't be doing that stuff anymore, man.
You see it in the opening, like the panels, but like it doesn't have to be like purple and as colorful as it is in the opening. Yeah. But like the contrast between colors, you can have some of that stuff in like in those scenes to really make them pop.
It looks great where Mirko is because of the lights like from the like incubator from Shigaraki.
Yeah, it's all purple and all that inside.
It's all creepy and purple. But in this, it was just like a dark office room, and I'm like, this is just such an uninteresting setting.
Yeah.
And props to Horikoshi in that sense, because it makes me, when I read the manga, it makes me feel like the setting is so much better.
It's easier because it's just like white and black, and it's just like like the darkness and lighting tones just work well in the manga.
But the sub actor for Din, really good. Twice, yeah. I think his first name is Din.
Okay.
And really, really good. Toga's voice actress did a really good job, and it hit on all the emotional moments. I really liked the moment where Hawks came, like his little eye came out of the fire. Man, it was really good.
Like when he like slowly like reveals. Yeah, I like how some people reacting to this. Like people thought that Hawks was gonna die. I didn't wish that was the case, but like boy, were they wrong? You know what I mean? Because that's how usual things showed up. But like no, Hawks wanted in a sense had to kill him. He was the biggest threat to the other than Shigaraki.
And I mean, he gave him a chance, but he didn't take it. But I mean, also there is that argument where it's like, if Din got that better help from the heroes to get like that mental health stuff and all that stuff, he could have been a better man.
All the events moving forward and like all that we're gonna see kind of shows emphasis on the failures of the hero society. Yeah. Obviously, villains should be stopped, and these guys are monsters. But there is a certain like thing to be looked at. Yeah. What the failures are in the society.
And that's what Din was saying. He was like, "You heroes, you're telling me to restart, start over." And he was like, "I can't do that again. I have friends now. Like I can't start over. What it should be is you grow into a better person. You don't ask people to start over, But it's like, but heroes, they beat the bad guys, then they lock them up, and then it's over for them. Yeah. They don't help afterwards, which I think
if only that wasn't the case in our real world.
Yeah, exactly. which is I think is going to play a big part on why Deku is the main character of the series, but we'll see.
But Dabi's really cool scene. And I
Yeah.
like the scene, like, go get him, like, go do some stuff. You know what I mean? I thought,
Yeah.
I thought, out of all the League of Villains, I thought Davi was just so indifferent that he literally just didn't care about anybody. But he kind of
No,
shows a
he
little
does,
bit, like,
yeah.
hey, go get him, buddy. Like, you know, I saved you. Go do your stuff. They're waiting for you out there, which is a really nice moment.
Davi
Obvious-
calls Hawks by his first name. and
yeah,
he's
catches
like,
him off guard.
He's like, huh?
How do you know?
Yeah.
Nani? Like,
Yeah.
how do you
'cause
know
Hawks,
that?
Hawks is supposed to be a
Just government only. Like,
Yeah,
no
just
one
government
knows
only.
him. Like,
Yeah.
he has no. It's not an alias. He is Hawks. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
like, you know what I mean? Like,
Well, and we will soon figure out why that is.
yeah.
But I mean, everybody knows Hawks because he's the number 2 hero, and everybody loves him. And it's like Hawks, oh my gosh! But nobody knows his first name.
Yeah.
Like you could have probably found NG Todoroki online, I'm sure.
Bakugo or
Yeah, exactly.
because they literally they don't pick names. They just went with Bakugo and like
Yeah.
that's really funny. And twice his death. Really sad.
Mhm.
Really done well with Toga and what's his face? The mask.
Compress.
Yeah,
Mr.
compressed there, like there to react. Yeah, really sad. And
yeah, did you see how he was like melting in the point where Hawks like stabbed him?
yeah,
Yeah, and
really
it
cool.
was
And it
really
shows a
awesome.
bloody scene, kind of like
It shows him bleeding like his head, and I was like, "Oh my god!"
that wasn't
I
in the
didn't thi-
manga. Like,
no, it wasn't. I
yeah.
didn't think they were gonna.
Great
show
ad.
him. Yeah,
Great-
great
it was
ad.
a great good addition to the anime.
Yeah.
Really look forward. Again, I don't know what happens after this episode in the manga, even though I read it. So in a sense, I'm like, let's see where it goes. Do you know what I mean? Because I only remember the big plot points, and I kind of
every time I have to tell Edgar what happens in the next episode.
literally
yeah.
like you said that last week, and then like after recording, you're like, hey, this happens.
yeah, I
I'm
was
like,
like-
what? I'm like,
I was like, yeah, Hawks is gonna kill twice. You know, like, I didn't think it was gonna happen that fast. I forgot. Like we were talking about.
there might be some chapters that they kind of reshuffled. You know?
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah, but we were talking about like every episode has an opportunity to be a banger, and this episode was a banger, and I remember it only growing from here on. So let's see what happens.
I mean, I hope whenever because people tend to do polls online, I hope that people recognize this episode. Yes, Chainsaw Man is doing its own feats, and it is like more popular right now than My Hero. But I think in
people
terms
are
of
sleeping on My Hero.
I think
too much.
I think definitely in this week, My Hero won best episode.
Yeah.
Is really great, great
yeah,
stuff.
yeah, as great as Denji kicking Aki in the balls looked.
Yeah, let's talk about
know.
that Chainsaw Man episode. Really great
Yeah.
scene. But there's a little, not a controversy, but there's a bit, some scratching of heads again.
Really?
They cut out an entire scene from the manga. If you remember,
Pull it up.
if you remember, when they're eating or before they eat, they stop at a restaurant. But also, Denji gets caught up with the girl. Yeah, he kind of runs away. Denji says look, I'll kill you, whatever. Like Makima kind of gets scared,
Mm-hmm.
and he kind of runs away, and then he runs into a little girl with her own devil. I think it's the muscle devil. Remember this scene right here? I'm gonna show it to you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like it's like they stop to eat. They stop to eat, and I
And he
think
runs-
Makima has a talk. She's like, I don't need a dog who says no. And since dogs get euthanized, whatever. Like, come on, eat up. And like, what's your answer? And he's like, yes, and then he runs away, and then he
Yeah.
runs into the girl with the
Did
muscle
that not
devil.
happen this
No.
episode?
No,
Oh.
it didn't.
I haven't, like I
You
said,
haven't seen it?
I haven't seen it,
Alright,
but I
yeah.
know what happens.
Yeah, I have no life, so I watch these episodes a lot, week by week.
Oh wow! So this whole thing doesn't happen?
No, yeah. And some people say that it's a pointless fight, but I really disagree because you see a parallel between Pachita and the muscle devil with the girl. Obviously, it's a lie because it's a fiend.
But
And-
isn't it supposed to show us what fiends are?
Yeah, and in this episode, we do get an explanation because power, but they explained it before. And I feel like this is a better way of seeing what a fiend is. It's like a show and then tell and then show again. We see
Yeah.
what a fiend is with what is that? Like it's like it wasn't a devil, it was like a girl with him, but the devil was controlling her. And it wasn't just a devil. And then they explained, oh, this is what a fiend is. And then we get to see another fiend again, and then we get to see power. And then
Yeah.
and I don't know. And people said that, oh yeah, it was a useless scene. But my argument goes, if it's in the manga, keep it in the manga. There shouldn't be any tamperment with the mangaka's original works, whether you think it's pointless or not. Because I feel like I guarantee you, if this sort of thing happened in My Hero, they would have rioted. Because as much hate as My Hero gets, they're always finding My Hero fans are always finding an excuse to hate on the anime. And if this kind of thing happened in the anime,
Yes.
they would have called it the worst episode, and they would have trashed it like, "Oh, this scene's ruined." You know what I mean? And obviously, and the anime's
Yeah.
Chainsaw Man is not ruined. The anime is not bad, but I feel like there's double standards that
looks-
aren't applying
No,
to this.
yes, it is. It is really, really great, and it has been going great so far. However, me and Edgar are still really cautious about this.
Yeah.
Even though I'm making videos about it and I'm enjoying doing that.
No, we love this
but,
show.
like,
Yeah.
But
Bless you.
Thank you. But also, I don't think I'm a little bit concerned that people think that this is the greatest thing of all time.
Yeah,
I
let's
think
keep a
that-
level head while enjoying this thing. You
I
know?
think towards the end of this, yeah, it is, and it's one of the best stories of all time. And where the manga is right now, God, it's so good.
Yeah.
But I think people are having higher expectations, and Mappa has been known to slip up a couple of times. Edgar, I'm so worried for the fight scenes. If it's all
Yeah.
3D CG, I'm just not interested in it.
I know.
You know?
And people say that like, oh, it's fine. Yeah, it is fine. But again, they're using a lot of 3D CG in these regular scenes where they're literally just talking. That's not a bad thing. They're using it subtly. It's
Yeah.
just, but but you know the saying, like when you have to do 2D animation, it makes sense to do it in still shots like these. And we're not seeing it. I mean, it's a clever way of doing it, and I would be okay with this if they would give attention to like the fight scenes, and like to say.
Yeah.
But you know, it's like the scene with Power was really great. She kills the
Yes.
sea cucumber devil.
Yeah.
Really funny looking devil.
Really good,
Funny
yeah.
name too. But that entire scene was great. I mean, there's not much to complain about, but there are worries I have by slight changes in the original content that the mangaka has written.
Yeah.
But the scenes I did like is like when Denji moves into the house and he's like making the awful toast, and like this scene's really funny. Like when
Yeah.
he's like slamming on the bathtub and he's singing, and he sleeps in the bathroom on the toilet. All really funny. But what someone pointed out was really funny, and again, this is a slight nitpick. If you really like paying attention and seeing small differences between the manga, is that Denji isn't really coming across as obnoxious or as crazy or as loud as he is in the manga. He seems kind of aloof and kind of well-mannered. Not really, but, you know, kind of like just a fish out of water rather than like, I'm crazy, boobs, and like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, which is...
He seems tamer, and it's because of the voice actor. It's not inherently a bad thing, but it's an interesting thing, and Denji's coming across as a different character than when I read him. And you're going to get that with any animated manga in general, but in the manga, he's like a completely like unhinged character.
This is interesting that you're saying this, because I can't imagine this. You know that scene, one of my favorite scenes in Chainsaw Man, where Himeno is like, where Makima's like,
Oh, slight spoilers.
Are you
for,
gonna? Oh,
yeah,
slight
sli-
spoilers.
slight spoilers. For him.
It's not even that big of a deal.
No, yeah.
But Himeno's like, are you gonna kiss me? And he's like, hell yeah. And then Makima's like, you're gonna kiss her? And he goes, hell no. You know, like that scene. I can't imagine this Denji doing this, you know?
Yeah.
I do agree with you. I don't think he's as crazy and as impulsive as his manga counterpart, which is fascinating because normally when it comes to mangas, they want that. You know, they want that crazy you know, which is it's fascinating because we talked about this earlier.
Yeah.
When I auditioned for Denji, I read him like that Denji.
Yeah.
And if I would have known that they went a little bit more, you know, conservative and more of like kind of a normal dude, I
See,
would've
like
gone for that.
in the chapters in the manga, there's like a completely irrelevant page of Denji crazed up on a leash with the collar around him, and it doesn't have any context or any sense in the actual manga. But when you look at that picture, like it makes sense with oh, that's who he is as a character. He's
Yeah.
like a monster on a leash, and he's
Well,
like completely crazy, and he's like
and
untamable.
also that, like, I talked about this in the in my video review, that I was like, I don't think Chainsaw Man is, and I think this is bad. I do think this is bad. I felt like that Denji's Chainsaw Man form was more controlled. No, Chainsaw Man needs to be like a rabid dog.
It's kind of like a Hulk,
you know?
but not too chaotic, but like but it has its own personality. Because
Yeah.
like when he is in control, like towards the end, and it's not really a spoiler for the manga, but when he is in control, when it seems like he has like a consciousness of sorts, and he has like certain actions that he purposely does, it's like a cool moment. Even in Attack on Titan, when Eren like has complete control of his Attack on Titan form,
Yeah.
and in Chainsaw Man, he's not chaotic. There is no like, oh, I have to control it or whatever. Clearly there isn't that, but there is a slight difference between the beginning and the end, to when it does happen. It's like, yeah, it's like it's just him. It's just Denji now. You know what I mean? But he's like in another form. It's like, you know what I mean?
And dude, like when he in that first episode, when he was just standing there and looking around at them, and he was like, well, I guess I gotta kill all the devils. I was like, isn't in the manga when he's killing all these devils, isn't he killing all of them? And while he's saying that, isn't he like, I gotta kill all the devils, I gotta kill Devil's Dead?
Yeah.
You know, like it should be more chaotic. And I actually think there's this story that I read earlier today that said Satsuki Fujimoto has a heavy involvement in the anime.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe this is to the detriment of this, right?
Yeah.
Because I think when animation, especially nowadays, because people don't like deviations from the manga, animators try to stay as close to the manga as possible in terms of character, story, and art. However, when the OG creator comes in, he might want to tweak a couple of things.
Yeah.
So he might have tweaked some of Denji's character, which I mean, and it's his original creation. He can do whatever he wants with it.
Yeah.
However, the original was fine. Like, the original was great.
Yeah, that's what made Denji such a unique main protagonist. Is like he was, and it's not like it's getting lost in translation 100%. It's just that I'm not the only one. I'm definitely not the only one that's reading him, that's seeing him as a different character.
You're on the online space about this more than me.
Oh yeah.
What are people saying?
It's 50. It's 50-50. People. Well, actually, no. It's more like it's a surprising 80-20, which is alarming because while it's nothing to sneeze at, a lot of people are like, oh, it's fine. That scene, it wasn't really necessary. And Denji, he's completely like the manga. But there are people who are like, I would have liked that scene in it, or there was no need to cut out that scene. And Denji's coming across as a slightly, while they weren't worried, but they were just noticing, Denji's coming across as a slightly tamer version than himself in the manga. And it had me thinking that, a lot of people are just like not holding the standards up a bit, like, to not high, but you know what I mean? Like they're not
This is dangerous. We're getting into dangerous territories.
And
Not us. The fans are.
Yeah,
but we're also,
because when it does happen, they'll be like in complete denial and the complete trash it.
But MAPPA are already getting into dangerous territory with this. For the ending, and I won't say what it is, for the ending of Chainsaw Man, for the big shock reveal at the end, this moment right now, it needs to seem like a kind of funny
he changed, you know what I mean? Yeah.
We
need to see that he changed.
Yeah, it needs to feel very funny. Whereas, like, in that first episode of Chainsaw Man, and I've seen some clips from the second one, like, except for Aki getting kicked in the balls, like, I didn't laugh. Because him getting kicked in the balls was so well animated. I was like, this is so weird.
Yeah.
But like, when I'm reading the manga and when they cut back to them being like, oh, what's up? Like, I laughed so hard, you know?
That the scene afterwards is really funny, and I think the strongest point of the episode was Power. Everything about her was great, and the slap she does, they do it so hilariously. I'll go check it out.
Maybe they're gonna make it that Power is the reason why Denji becomes as crazy as he is.
Probably.
Maybe that's what they're gonna go with. That she's such an influence on him, a bad influence on him, that he becomes like a crazy dude. Yeah. But he does things that is like Denji does stuff that I'm like, bro, you crazy, Yeah. Especially in part 2. So yeah, but it's gonna be interesting to see.
Power is the highlight, and they animated her. It wasn't a fight scene, but her scene when she demonstrates her blood devil power. Yeah. Because she is a fiend, and when she demonstrates that, beautifully well animated.
Yeah. Have you listened to Aki and the dub? I listened to the trailer again.
I haven't.
I'm like, his voice is so deep.
Yeah.
Like, he sounds like a 40-year-old, and I don't know how old Aki is. But I was like, man.
I know he's in
crazy.
his 20s. He's not a teenager. He's older than than Denji, obviously, but
Yeah.
I don't know. But that is something I'll be checking out because while it is the most popular anime, I do want to check out how the dub sounds because you auditioned for it. I like checking out. I like comparing.
Yeah.
It's just, and I mean that in a good way because like I spent a lot of time with like working with you that scene, and I wanted to see.
Yeah.
Let's see who they cast. Look, why didn't they pick my buddy Ben? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
well, probably because they were like, "Who the hell is this guy?" You know. But they, I mean, the actors who they chose is brilliant. To be honest, like you can choose any voice actor for almost any. That's not true. As long as you choose a character that choose an actor that fits the character, most of the time it's gonna go well, and it's down to direction. You know, so it's gonna be interesting to see. And I know Mike McFarland is a brilliant director, so it's gonna be great to see what they do.
Yeah, we'll be looking forward to that. Ben, I'm sorry to say I haven't seen the second or third episode of
Second of Mob.
Yeah, so,
I haven't either.
Okay, then we'll
Oh
talk about
no, I did.
Okay.
My buddy Sean was in the episode.
Oh, really?
A major part in the episode for the dub. Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
And I didn't know it was him at first. Yeah, I was like, I didn't know it was him. Sean, I just performed with him. He was my Leonato in
Much Ado About Nothing.
Yeah, and he's a big director over there. He's directed Aoshi. He's directed. He assistant directed Horimiya. You know, he's a huge director over there. And
that's great.
Yeah, he performed this character, and I didn't know it was him at first. And it's really funny. You should watch it.
The second episode.
The second episode is so funny.
Already.
And like he says something at the end, and I was like, I know that voice. I was like, who is that?
Wait
and I searched it up, and I was like, oh my god, it's Sean. And I told him that it was really. I told him I've been watching the dub since 2016, and like, 2018. And I said that it was like that he fit in so well that I didn't even know it was him. So yeah, that was really funny.
That's cool.
Yeah, and the dub is still really good. Like,
okay, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm still watching it, but it still is problematic. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's great. We'll talk about it in depth once I catch up.
Once you get it,
I don't know why that was the one those are the ones I missed, but
yeah,
because I'm like watching like a bunch of other ones, but we'll talk about that forward. Let's quickly get in, if we can. If you want to get into the news, or do you just want to end the podcast here? Do you want to just do that and then get straight into it?
Yeah. I'll just talk about Junji Ito real quick.
All right.
And then we can talk about. Have you not heard about this?
No, but we'll just get into one news, just one news headline, because we have a big topic ahead. So let's just get into that, Ben.
Junji Ito's story is going to get a Netflix adaptation. An animation Netflix adaptation. One of Junji Ito's story.
Wow.
Junji Ito's stories has been animated in the past. Not good at all.
Yeah,
awful.
I've never heard of. I only see his manga in the stores. I don't think I've ever heard or seen his anime.
Well, he's a horror manga artist. Yeah, and I love his stories. I think they're brilliant, and I would love a day where we. Oh, Halloween's coming out. Maybe we should probably review one of his stuff. So we'll talk about that later.
Horror in anime is really hard to nail on the head. I've heard that horror animes aren't scary, but there are other animes that have horror elements that are scary.
But Junji Ito is terrifying.
Yeah.
I piss myself when I'm reading his mangas. Like it's terrifying.
Yeah.
And he has become a sensation all around the world. Everybody knows Junji. If you're a fan of Halloween, you know Junji Ito.
Or just manga in general.
Yeah, exactly.
If you've heard his name or you've seen his work.
Yeah. And one of my favorite ever manga panels where the cat like bites the dude's hand. Like, because he wrote a gag horror manga with cats, and like he like the cat like bites him, and the guy's like, "Ow!" and it was all just leading up to that small moment. It was really great. But yeah, he's going to get Netflix adaptations, and it's going to be called Junji Ito Maniac: Japanese Tales of the Macabre. So yeah, it reveals the stories and cast, but it's going to be on Netflix. And last time Netflix did an animation, it was more of a PowerPoint presentation than anime.
Don't forget.
Oh right, but they didn't. They were the
Cyberpunk.
They were the distributors of that. They didn't work on it.
Well,
right? Studio Trigger did it. Netflix did.
Oh, so Netflix is really just doing this one?
Netflix has like their own animation kind of studio.
Oh, so it's not a Japanese studio working on this?
I don't think so. Let me make sure.
Yeah. It'd be odd for them to just straight up take a Japanese mangaka's work and not pick up a Japanese studio animation.
I can't see anything on here that says an anime or a Japanese animation studio worked on it.
Huh.
Yeah, I can't see any of it. I just see Netflix on the poster. And last time this happened, Way of the House Husband happened, and although I really liked it,
God's something Record of Ragnarok or something,
Ragnarok,
something
yeah.
happened, something like that happened.
That was an issue.
That was a PowerPoint as well.
And it was a PowerPoint presentation, and a lot of people are like, okay, well, let's see if this is a PowerPoint presentation, you know.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, Junji Ito deserves probably a full-length horror movie for each of his volumes.
Yeah.
Because they are so good. But this is the poster, Edgar. It looks really creepy.
Yeah, that is. He definitely nails it on the head.
Oh yeah,
Stuff of nightmares. That guy.
So yeah,
he's a really nice person though. A really
no.
really
yeah,
nice
he
person.
is great. I saw this thing that was like mangaka who writes, and it was like a really happy manga, and he was like really sad, and it was like Junji Ito writes this, and it was like disgusting, and he's like smiling and stuff.
Yeah.
So I think his dark thoughts make him happy.
I think I've seen one like that. It's like the bus meme where like the guy who's smiling is Junji Ito, and then the guy who's frowning on the dark side of the bus is Miyazaki.
Yeah.
When they make complete opposite things,
Yeah.
but their personalities don't match.
Other than that, Tokyo Revengers ends in 5 chapters, so be prepared for that storm.
Yeah, it ends
Yeah.
November 16th. Officially ends.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about it.
Are you caught up on that?
No, I haven't even read it.
I haven't either.
Yeah,
But
and
you got the book, right?
I have 2 volumes.
Yeah, right. Yeah, me too.
Yeah, it'll be ending November 16th with no breaks confirmed by the mangaka himself. So,
Wow.
So it'll end then. Look forward to that. Yeah,
Big manga,
big manga ending.
Yeah.
So yeah, the first of many to come, unfortunately.
Yes, indeed.
But what we have next?
Oh wait, that's Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
One Piece.
Oh, that's it,
All
yeah.
right. Listen, everybody. We've done a whole bunch of reviews and individual reviews on our podcast about the One Piece, and there have been individual review videos on there. Make sure you go check all of those stuff out. They're a lot of fun to edit. They're a lot of fun to do. However, a lot of people have said, like, oh, why is this, like, maybe you should have read it more before you reviewed it. Here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. If we were doing an individual review, like I'm doing on my channel for Chainsaw Man, you would do that research because
You
it's
would write a
just
script, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I did. I wrote a script for this video. That's what you would do. But this is not what me and Edgar want. We want it to be a
We
conversation.
didn't read it. No, I'm just kidding.
we
No.
Well, I haven't read this.
Well, like
Yeah.
you read it, but that was like a year and a half ago.
Maybe 2 years ago now.
2 years ago, and it's the Skypiea Saga for one thing. So give him some slack. And for me,
Yes.
throw all the hate you want because I do read things, but I read like 10 mangas. Well, I read 5 weekly mangas, and I'm reading 2 like my own mangas right now. I'm reading Hunter x Hunter, catching up, and One Piece right now.
Yeah.
So that, along with the weekly anime that I'm watching, and 2 non-weekly anime that I'm watching now, and I just watch other stuff like House of Dragon, Andor. So you can understand.
I haven't watched any other episodes of Andor, which is bizarre to me because I am like Star Wars. I am there.
I hear
like,
it's
the instant.
It's a small tangent. I hear it's really good right
I hear
now.
it's really good.
Really good. But
Yeah.
it is a slow burn. But nonetheless,
And I will watch it.
I have
but,
so much on my plate, and
Yeah.
probably not and not a good thing that I have that
Yeah.
much on my plate in terms of watching, because we run into situations like these. But even then, when I read manga, I forget half of this stuff. I was super into the My Hero War arc when it was happening. I was like, Ben, every week, did you see what
Did you
happened?
see what-
I was like,
oh my God.
and now I'm like, huh?
Yeah,
This happened. I'm
exactly.
like,
Yeah,
I don't even
exactly.
know what's happening next, because that's
Exactly.
just what happens when I read stuff, and sometimes
Yeah.
then some of you just say, just watch the anime, bro. I do not have that time. I do
No.
not- I do
Nobody
not-
has. Nobody. Anybody who has a normal life doesn't have that time.
Yeah.
But listen. Here's how it's going to go. In our last review, me and Edgar kind of brought up the synopsis, and we talked about it, and we talked about like each moment, and
I got exhausted at that point.
Yeah, I don't think it works. I don't think that works. And those of you who only watch the individual reviews, you won't know like you wouldn't know that yet because we haven't even gotten past the first podcast that we did our review. We haven't even gotten past East Blue Saga.
Yeah, we're
not
Alabasta.
We're at Arlong Park.
Arlong Park.
Yeah, which is releasing
on the
which
YouTube
released
channel.
last week. So go check that out.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah. So go check that out. But
When you recorded,
so now
Yeah.
what we're going to do is we're just gonna talk about the moments
The
that
highlights,
we liked.
yeah.
The things that we liked, and if we missed something, put it down in the comments and be like, because before every review, I like to do things that we missed. So just let us know if we missed anything
Yeah.
that you want us to talk about, and then we'll talk about it. So I'm so sorry if you want an in-depth review. Go watch Totally Not Mark. Go watch, I don't know, like the Grand Line reviews. There's so many One Piece
Yeah.
creators. Go see that. But this is not what this is. Me and Edgar wanted the podcast to be a conversation about storytelling,
yeah.
about the creation of manga,
Mhm.
and all that stuff. And that's what we're going to do.
Yeah, I feel like it'll get better once we get closer to Wano. I would assume, Ben,
Mhm.
you'll have a more upper hand because that's a recent thing that's more recent.
Dude, once we get to Water 7, I know everything that happens in
Oh,
the Water
okay.
7 saga.
That's where
No.
I'm in the Water 7 saga, so that's a relief to hear.
Yeah.
Because it's been a rough ride. And
I reread Water 7 for fun,
Oh.
like every time I get a new One Piece volume, I reread that volume, just to see
Yeah.
like, okay, this happened in this volume,
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And this is, I don't know if this is going to be worse or better. It's probably going to be worse because the Skypiea saga, it took me forever to get. I think this is the longest. I think I had a harder time getting
Yeah.
through this than I think it might. I don't know if it took longer than reading the entire Alabasta saga, but it did feel
did.
longer.
It did.
It did. Yeah.
I think it took you maybe a month and a half to finish Alabasta. I think this took 3 months to finish.
Oh my
Hold on.
god.
Well, we can check. Hold on.
Yeah.
Let me see. Okay, so we have here. I'm gonna search up the Manga Monday show, which you should go
See the
check
gap-
out,
yeah,
subscribe, all that stuff.
The gap between the East Blue saga and then I think the title for that was One Piece is Not Mid, and then we have the
Yes, I think I changed the name of it
Oh.
on YouTube. So the name on YouTube 2 months ago we did is Alabasta the Best One Piece Saga, and then before that we had East Blue, which was a month earlier. So yeah, it took you a month to read through Alabasta, and it took you about probably 3 to 2.5 months to finish Skypiea.
rip. Yep.
But there is
that's,
a lot of more, like there's so much content going on right now.
No, yeah.
So Edgar had to pick and choose, when he read One Piece.
Yeah, and even then, I was like, I told Ben before on previous podcasts, and I told him in person that, I mean, this is not a bad thing, but this is just my personal opinion on reading this series. If I hadn't picked up this series and read it because it's One Piece, or if I didn't know it was One Piece, I probably would have dropped this manga. Not because it's bad. I'm just not like inherently vibing with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not my
We've talked about
thing.
this before. It's not necessarily a story for you as of right now.
Yeah.
It will get to that point.
So, yeah,
I
but
believe.
300 chapters, if you're not into it, for anybody, if you're literally not into a series, anybody would drop it. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
Whether it's good or bad, if someone tells you, I don't like this series, I'm not saying it's bad, but I it's a drag for me to get through. And somebody be like, 300 chapters, I would just drop it, bro. But but this is like 1,000+ chapter series, so it's kind of like you gotta kind of commit to it, which I am, and I'm still excited to see where we're going and like what everyone's talking about. You know what I mean? What makes One Piece One Piece, and it's kind of like interesting to. And I do have small moments of those in the series.
I think you're about to meet somebody who I think is like, for me, I'm like, I see them. I can't see the Straw Hats without them. And I can't believe, like, sometimes when I read the moments, I was like, God, I can't believe he was not a part of the Straw Hats. So you're about to see who that is. Yeah.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
But starting off the Skypiea saga is the Jaya Arc.
Yeah.
The Jaya Arc.
Give us a nice big opening for the video, Edgar. Go like, Jaya Arc, whoa!
Jaya Arc. Wow, it's like a J and an A and a Y and another A in one arc.
Good opening. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, but we start off with the crew leaving Alabasta, leaving Vivi, and bye bye. Like we're all leaving.
Bye bye, Vivi.
And I think while they're trying to find their way to the next island, I don't remember what the island is inherently called, but before we get there, we see something pretty scary and like, what the heck is this? Because like when I read it, I'm like,
Was it the giants?
Yeah,
yeah.
shadows in the sky. I'm like, and right before that, I think we see like a king emperor, or what do you call the big fish? Like the king of the seas or something?
Oh yeah, the sea kings.
Sea kings. We saw like a sea king, and it was like, and it was like right next to like the ship. So like, it was massive. And then it like zoomed out, and we see like the shadows in the sky. I'm like, what the hell are these things? It actually kind of scared me because it was like ominous and ginormous.
Is this also when like things were falling out of the sky?
Yeah.
Like pieces.
It got night all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And even then there was like shadows, and I thought there was like something in the water, and then it just disappeared like instantly. So I'm like, I was actually really intrigued. I'm like, what are those things? And it goes to show that how much mystery the Grand Line holds for like the show.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, and I think it's fair to say that even though I forgot a lot of things, I think I enjoyed Jaya Arc more than Skypiea Saga, just because of how much.
I mean the Skypiea Arc.
Sorry,
Yeah.
Skypiea Arc.
Keep going.
No, Jaya Arc is better than the
Cause-
Saga. Like,
yeah,
no,
because I mean Jaya is in the Saga.
No,
so.
yeah. No, but I stand corrected.
No,
No,
I agree with you. I remember every moment of the Jaya arc,
Yeah.
just because it has so memorable. But we'll get there. Keep going.
no, yeah, but they run into some pirates. I don't know what they're called. They're just the monkey pirates in my mind because
Yeah,
they
yeah.
look like the captains look like monkeys.
Yeah.
At least they run into
Monkey
one.
boys.
They run into one of them, and they were trying to steal some treasure, the stuff that was falling out of the sky.
Yeah. Is it
And-
really stealing then, or is it just
No, yeah,
picking
no.
up the debris?
But they're pirates and they're looting.
Yeah.
Stuff that.
They're
that
slooting.
they're slooting.
yeah.
And then they run into like a bit of debacle. Hey, this is our territory, whatever you can, blah blah blah, and they manage to get away.
Yeah.
And I think they run into what's called Mocktown.
Yes, it's called Mocktown.
Yeah, it's a pirate town, right?
Uh-huh.
Like it's
Yeah,
like a
yeah.
bunch of pirates, and they.
It looks very much like a pirate town you would see in the Caribbean. Like if you ever played the Assassin's Creed, Black Flag.
or if you watch Pirates
know.
of the Caribbean.
Yeah.
you know.
It looks very much like that. Yeah.
But they run into some ruffians like Bellamy, Hyena
Yeah.
Bellamy, and Roshiro.
Hyena Bellamy.
Yeah, that's a weird name.
This is so funny.
He looks like an evil version of a blonde Luffy, or an evil
Yeah.
version of, I don't know. He just looks like a sick, twisted guy with a
Yeah.
crooked smile. And I really liked how much I hated this guy because of how much he was. I don't know. One of the things I like about One Piece is how much they make you hate the villain.
Mhm.
And this guy, you really wanted to punch him in the face just because of
Yeah.
how.
Which happens,
Yeah.
eventually.
Because like
Yeah.
Nami tells him not to get into any trouble. Luffy and Zoro walk into town and said, "Don't get in any fights." And then Luffy kind of says, "Like, I'm not gonna don't fight him. You know what I mean? Don't touch him. Like, we're not gonna hurt him."
This is the Edgar and me were talking a little bit before about like what does this even mean? What does this stand for? It's a good parallel towards the beginning of the series, and it shows how Luffy has grown. At the beginning of the series, when those mountain thugs came down and were like pouring drinks on Luffy was like, "Shanks, why aren't you fighting him?" And Shanks was like, there's no need, like they were just pouring drinks on me. There's no reason, to have bloodshed. But when it came to the point where they were threatening Luffy's life, then they were like, all right, we'll kill him. Like, and Lucky Roo shoots him in the head in the first chapter,
Yeah.
just to show how ruthless pirates can be. And it's a good parallel because Luffy and Zoro were like, they're only laughing at our dreams, which is fascinating because to be a part of this generation of pirates, you have to believe things like Skypiea is real. You have
The
to
One
believe
Piece
the
is real.
One Piece is real.
Can we get my child? The One Piece.
The One Piece. The One Piece is real. I don't think we've done a review since the One Piece is real meme came out.
Yeah.
Thank God. That's been a long time.
I feel like we're gonna be mentioning it every arc
Oh, yeah,
now. Like,
definitely.
yeah, but dreams.
But yeah, so the dreams and
we got a really cool. Luffy meets this stranger, a fellow drinker in the town. Like, I think this.
you know
is,
who he is. You can say.
No,
who he is.
I mean I don't want to spoil it for people. No,
Oh,
it's,
come on.
I knew it was Blackbeard because like
Yeah.
I literally
He looks like him.
I run into One Piece spoilers more than I run to anything these days because like even before I feel like I'm pretty sure not only have I had a funny moment like not spoiled But so far, even in this saga, I've seen a funny moment that has been given to me without context. But same thing goes for spoilers. I feel like every arc have been spoiled in one way or another.
Yeah.
And I know this was Blackbeard.
Me too, me too. Like that. Like it's impossible to be on the anime stratosphere of the internet and not find One Piece.
As much as I didn't care about One Piece, and as much as I said I'm never gonna touch One Piece, I was just spoiled like belligerently.
Well, even the meme, can we get my like that has like 3 spoilers in it, you know? Like it spoils like 2 of like the biggest plot lines of the pre time skip stuff. So I was like, dang, that's crazy. But yeah, didn't you think it was interesting how like Luffy and Blackbeard were like opposite of one another, and they were like Luffy was like, this pie is good, and Blackbeard was like, oh, this pie is garbage.
Yeah.
You know, in the anime, Blackbeard's voice actor is the same guy as Thorkel in Vinland Saga.
Really?
Yeah. So he goes stuff like, oh, and I expect him to say Thorfinn, you know, stuff like that. But he has a really funny laugh in the anime where he goes like, it's really good. And but later on, Blackbeard sees them kind of stand their ground, and Blackbeard meets them in the middle of the town, and these guys who are polar opposites, that one, good panel, right?
Yeah, people's dreams don't ever end.
Yeah.
If I think there's the doom is that sound like effect thing in the manga. I feel like the word doom has been tossed around more than any other word. In One Piece.
Definitely.
I'm like,
but I love it.
Doom.
I love it. The doom. Yeah, and the anime does it. They do like a little, you know. But I love the comic book aesthetic of that.
Yeah.
I think it's great. But Blackbeard saying that stuff just goes to show that this person's going to show up again. You know, like you have to have this imagination to be the greatest pirate. You have to believe in all of your dreams to be this. And it plays into the part of Blackbeard is the same, but polar opposite of Luffy. He's going for what Luffy wants, but he's going to do it in an opposite way. And how is that going to happen? You're going to have to find that out as the more you read. Which is going to be just so fascinating for you to read.
Yeah. But they, like I said, they make you really hate them, and like either before or after this, they run into the other guy, the one who's like in the fake castle, Mont Blanc Cricket.
Oh yeah, Mont Blanc. Doesn't he work with the monkey pirates?
Yeah. Well, at least the monkey pirates work for him. You know, they call him boss and whatever. And I think they're looking for something called El Dorado or Skypiea, essentially. El Dorado or like something. You know, there was like a entire town of like gold and whatever.
There's a lot of like, we talked about how the town looks like a Caribbean town. Like, wasn't El Dorado a thing that people like pirates were searching for
in the Caribbean?
Caribbean, yeah.
There's a city gold.
By the way, about that that's my favorite moment of the saga. So I won't talk about any other moment in that much detail, but it's one of my favorite moments of the entire series.
Oh wow!
And you'll see why. But,
okay. Oh, to me, I was like, cool. This guy's like supporting.
Well, that's what I did too. And then I read it again afterwards, and I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. It's Oda world building at its finest. I think.
Yeah. But essentially, you know, they tell the tale of Nolan the liar, and apparently this Mont Blanc Cricket guy is like a descendant of that guy, and he was looking for you know.
They tell the false tale, right? That he was like an awful dude.
Well, the tale is about how he's a liar because of like he told like, oh, there was a thing of here, but it doesn't exist, and because it's not there.
Disappeared,
and how he's like just builds a facade, and then you know, Luffy like believes him, and like they like this tale, and either way, it's a dream of his to find the lost city of gold.
Yeah,
and then it goes like later, like the Bellamy and like his pirate gang like, you know, trash this place and steal the gold bars that they had stored up, and bars. And this is what right. And then Luffy was like, we're not gonna fight him, like just leave him alone. They trashed in our dreams, but like they wrecked their dreams. Yeah, they ruined their stuff, and this is like the moment that I really liked in this arc, is like I'll be back by sunrise.
Oh yeah,
I'm gonna
when
go take care of
when
them.
Luffy
Yeah.
goes to town, man. There's no cooler moment.
That's why I love. That's
Yeah.
one of my favorite highlights of this series is when Luffy beats up bad guys.
Yeah, like the moment when he puts the hat on Nami and stuff, and he's like, "Let's go, guys." You know, stuff like that is really, really awesome. And slight spoiler, that's not going to change anytime soon.
Good.
Even in Wano, he does stuff that I'm like, "Oh yes."
That's my favorite things
That's
is when
great.
he's like, nah. All right, I'm gonna kill you now.
Yeah,
It's
exactly,
like
exactly.
it's one of my favorite things, and like how he kind of feels indifferent to what people think of him, but when other people hurt the people he cares about, or even people like strangers who have similar dreams like his, silly or not, he'll go protect them
Yeah,
and
yeah.
their dreams, which is really nice. I really like that about this arc, or one of the things I like about Luffy a lot.
Mhm.
And then he goes beat them up essentially. But one of the things I like was the whole debacle was like oh, this is like a nobody pirate, straw hats. Who cares? And then the new bounties come in, and then they see them like,
They're like,
whoa, wait, like this guy defeated like Croc and whatever. Like, it's just really funny. I love that, like how they've risen already in terms of bounties, and it goes to show what kind of place they
great.
hold in the world, which is really nice.
Mhm.
Is it higher than what Crocodiles was now?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that he surpassed him. But like Bellamy was like, I got a bounty of 44 million, and it's like that's Pee-wee numbers like
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
You know, which is also like again, it's another.
Luffy's was
parallel.
100,
Yeah.
and then like Zoro's
Yeah.
is 60.
Yeah,
like,
it's another parallel to the beginning of the series when those mountain thugs went, I got a bounty of 4 million berries, and I think Shanks at that point was probably in the billions, you know, so like it absolutely means nothing.
Is that who?
You
Like,
know, exactly. Yeah.
but man, when he punches him, Luffy punches Bellamy. I was like,
Yeah. After he does a little bit of showboating.
Oh, no,
right,
yeah,
where he
of
does
course.
this little bouncy stuff.
yeah,
you
he has
know?
that bounce fruit,
Yeah.
or bane no mi.
Yeah.
Legs can turn into spring.
Bane.
But the crew returns because they're supposed to find a Southbird to like find
Oh yeah, that annoying like toucan-looking bird.
it's a
Yeah,
Southbird, which is supposed to point him in the direction of where the
Yeah, because
of where the
where
guy-
the water spout is.
yeah,
the
there you go.
geyser, Yeah.
Because that and those things are the only things to locate it because they always go south, which is
Yeah.
really funny. That's like the only direction they can go, or at least they like going. I don't know what it was or something like that.
Yeah.
But it was really funny. But they end up going before they do that. I completely forgot. Before they go to Skypiea, before they go up the geyser, like that shoots them upwards into the sky. There's a meeting that happens. And I was kind of spoiled on this, not really on what happens, but on the big entrance that happens because it's a funny walk. Doflamingo.
Well, yeah, because we talked about it in one of our podcast
Like,
episodes.
but
I
even
forgot.
before then, like I knew
Yeah.
like the greatest entrances ever. I'm like, what,
Yeah.
this guy? He looks weird or something.
Dofi, favorite villain of the series, man.
Doflamingo.
I love Dofi. Yeah, he's
Don
great.
Quixote from Doflamingo.
What a name! Took one of the greatest playwrights from France, took it, put Doflamingo at the end, and made him a
Yeah.
villain. Awesome. Love it.
Really cool design.
great.
But my boy Mihawk is here.
Mhm.
Oh man! Anytime
Yeah.
he shows up, I'm like, yeah, like
Yeah,
let's go.
and
Like,
Ligma is here also.
oh yeah, he is.
Yeah, Kuma's
Yeah.
here. Yeah.
We'll explain what that means later. But but people are like, what? But we know
Yeah.
in the context.
in the review video, I'll put the video right here.
Yeah, you put it there.
Steve Jobs. Oh, God, it's one of my
Ligma
favorite.
Bowls.
It's one of my favorite.
Yeah, but
videos.
he shows up. The seven warlords of the sea have a meeting to discuss about replacing Warlord Crocodile, who was recently.
Yeah, so only the 6 warlords right now.
Yeah, no, and there's a couple admirals, which is really weird because I thought, at least in my mind, when they explained what the 3 great world powers are, I thought the warlords of the sea would be like pirates, would not be in cahoots with admirals of the Marines.
Well, it's
So
kind
I'm like, what the?
it's
heck?
kind of like how in like actual history where criminals would, when they became so big, they would start working with the government.
Yeah, didn't
you
like
know?
Henry Avery or somebody work
Al,
or
Al,
Nathan
Al Capone as well. he
yeah,
did that.
like pirates work for the Queen and for
Yeah.
for the English empire or whatever.
Exactly.
But I guess you're right. But even then, in this story, in the context, I'm like, these are like some of like the worst. They have bounties from the Marines. Why would they work with together? You know what I mean?
Well, but it gives them it now when they do this, it gives them protection, which is also why Crocodile was like, I can do whatever the heck I want. Like I have the government backing me, you know.
Yeah.
So he was like, that's why also Smoker in Alabasta, he was so like, yeah. Well, he was
Because
like,
I feel like he's a rebel in a sense. You know
he
what I
was
mean?
like, oh, I shouldn't attack Crocodile. He was like, Crocodile can't be behind this. Like he's a warlord of the sea. But then Smoker was like, he's a bad dude. Let's take him down. You know.
Yeah.
So yeah, love
Yeah.
Smoker. Love Smoker.
Yeah, but I don't know what's like the big things that get discussed. I just know that they come here to discuss who's replacing who, and I have someone
That's a good
shows up,
question,
Lafitte or something.
Yeah, Lafitte. I think.
Shows up.
Sorry.
Of the Blackbeard pirates shows up, and he recommends his captain as Crocodile's replacement. Other than that, I don't really remember what happens, but it is a cool scene because these are big. Even though I know who like Doflamingo is, I know like Seven Wards of the Sea, like some serious stuff is going on.
Well, these meetings are probably like some of the hypest moments in One Piece is when you get these where you're like, oh, what's going on everywhere else? You know, it's really great.
Yeah. But yeah, the admirals, they have their meeting and whatnot, and we go back into the knock-up stream. There you go. That's what it's called. The geyser knock-up stream. Really cool. Basically, what? Grow up. I was like, what? I'm like, what? Like, what's so funny? Yeah, they go up the knock-up stream and just shoots them. Very terrifying. I would not do this at all.
Yeah, and we also see like parts of the the poor ship, you know, like parts of Going Merry is like falling off, and you're like, man, the stuff that this ship has gone through is awful, you know. Yeah, it's crazy.
But they head up this geyser stream, whatever, and they find themselves in a sea of clouds.
Now give me an intro for Skypiea.
Skypiea, sea of clouds. Woo! Imagine the ocean, but it's clouds, and everything's kind of like. Shouldn't they not be breathing at this point since it's such a high atmosphere? But we'll forget about that because who cares? Because we're in the best arc of One Piece, baby.
Very nice.
Yeah, really. Already, I got annoyed by this stupid old lady who's like, you gotta pay 5 million something, the currency that you clearly don't own.
Oh man.
I feel like this arc was just me getting. Well, it was funny, obviously, but it was just me getting mad at all the civilians. Like, don't mess up with. Can y'all shut up? I want to punch you all in the face. Like, I
don't know what it is with manga civilians. Like, civilians in any mangas make me mad. Like, I hate the civilians in Attack on Titan. I hate the civilians
Black Clover.
in Black Clover. They're the worst. Oh my god, they're the worst. The only ones I'm okay with are the civilians in Jujutsu Kaisen. They're all right.
Well, they're literally just getting killed by random,
exactly.
You know what I mean?
That's why I actually feel sympathy for them.
But they're like, you don't have money, the currency, because you're clearly from the Blue Sea, so you clearly don't have our currency. Why don't you just get in, but we're gonna fine you, and then you're gonna go to jail or something like that.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
what is the logic there? Like, what is the point? It's so dumb.
Yeah.
But they end up on a shore in the Sea of Clouds. And this is like the funny moment that I'm talking about. I got this out of context. It's like when Luffy's like on the tree and he's like biting on the melon. Like Usopp, yeah, Luffy, and he dropped like Usopp's minding his own business, and, like building a castle.
I can already see a TikTok and it like cuts off as soon as like his bong. Like,
literally. Oh my god!
And like Usopp scream, like he's like, yeah. It's so funny.
I think even before I started reading One Piece, I seen that scene. I was like, that is funny, right? I was like,
it's really good. It's really good. But this arc, not our favorite. Like, let's be honest. I understand there are a lot of people, especially in more recent times. A lot of people thought for a long time that Skypiea wasn't that great. But when I started was when people were really starting to be like, no, maybe Skypiea is really good. You know, and it has a lot of story implications that happen later on that we'll talk about later.
From what I hear,
a lot of people like it.
From what I heard, the only thing I've heard about Skypiea is that it's the worst arc, and
oh really?
that it's the only arc that feels like filler.
It's not the worst arc.
I know, but that is the only thing I've heard.
Yeah,
so I was like,
but
can I skip this arc? Can I not skip this?
Don't
arc?
skip the arc. Yeah.
But literally people do that. Like
from
what I've read, it's like, just skip it.
To be honest, you could, but because in my opinion, it does feel like a really, really, really good filler arc in the anime. Now I know, whoa, calm down, chill out.
Put down the
audience.
pitchforks.
Put down the pitchforks. I still enjoyed it. I'm interested to hear what Edgar thinks about it.
What?
Anyway,
I didn't say anything.
But
someone else did then.
But I think it is really, really good. But there are some times where it drags on, and there's just like it is good for world building, but it's also like Skypiea is so out of the way of the entire world.
It feels like nothing has consequence up here.
Exactly. It's like its own little planet, you know? So like anything that kind of happens doesn't really come back. And I will say, in terms of like things that come back, the only time we hear about Skypiea again is really only in like chapter 934 or something like that.
Wow.
Which is crazy. Yeah, it is insane. But my friend Asal, he really likes it, but I mean, he likes everything One Piece, so you know. But yeah, that's just a little bit of a preface. If you really, really like Skypiea, like really, really like it, like you're ready to die on this hill that it's the best arc in One Piece, maybe
click off this video. Click off the podcast.
On your way out, why don't you hit a like and subscribe as well? Just to
give us a 5 out of 5 rating. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like,
but I'm just like, we still really like it, but there are going to be some criticisms. So go ahead, Edgar.
Skypiea, more like
mid-Pea.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, mid-Pea in my mouth.
Right. But. But this arc. Oh man, I lost my train of thought. I was about to say something, but this arc, it just I saw like a video. I showed you a video of a guy, and it's kind of illogical the way he goes about it. But he says, "I'm about to start One Piece for the 5th time, and I always stop at Skypiea. I cannot get through this arc, I start over every time. Maybe I'll get through it this final time. Like maybe don't start over every time, but just
maybe watch like a recap. Watch Totally Not Mark's reviews. Like Totally Not Mark, he does." And sometimes to its detriment. So that's sometimes why I stopped watching his One Piece reviews, is because he really like, it's a review. He like details everything in the story and then gives his thoughts.
You should check out Murphy. I forget her name. She mainly does just like book Murphy Napier. She just reads books a lot, and she's reading One Piece. She doesn't do like Totally Not Mark does. She just talks about highlights, what she loves about it, what she doesn't like.
When I do that like with Daniel Green. I'm not a big.
They're friends. Yeah.
I know. I'm not a big fan of her.
Check out her. Oh, they're great.
I like most of her stuff, but she did a video where she talked about how the ending of Avatar wasn't good, and I was like, your opinion's invalid now. But anyway,
come on. You can
opinion invalid.
No,
I will take I will take nothing from this.
Man, let's just admit that Avatar's kind of mid and just move forward. Oh my god, he grew 2 feet just now, and he's like standing over me holding it. No, but that's your baby.
No,
I know that's a message.
She does have some good.
Her One Piece reviews are not reviews, but her One Piece reactions.
Saga ones are pretty good too.
No, yeah. But that's when I go to, I don't, other than talking about it with you, I go to her because I like having like what her inputs are. Like, that is really good.
In the Avatar thing, she just said a couple things. I was like, that is not true.
Suko Katara? That's good.
Well, no, she didn't say that. Thank God. If she didn't say that, I would have blown a blood vessel. But she said stuff like, oh, 50, it's the Avatar ending is 50-50. 50 people, like 50% of people don't like it. And I'm like, I have not met that person. Like some people go, yeah, it's a Deus Ex Machina ending, like a little bit. But it's, if you watch the series,
it kind of is.
Like, but if you watch the series, the idea of the lion turtle.
No, it's a Deus Ex Machina because we literally never heard of it.
But if you watch the show, it's everywhere. It's in the
No, it's not.
It's in the Herald.
Okay. That's the first time we heard of it.
All right. It's not like I watch it like twice a year or something.
Yeah, maybe that's your fault.
Yeah,
so
but
it's like a skill issue.
The idea of energy bending was built up throughout the whole series. It just wasn't spelled out for us, which I think is great.
Podcast over.
Yeah,
We're done.
Series over. Delete the channel. Anyway, but no, I'm sorry. Keep going. That
No.
won't be in the review, by the way. But keep going.
He'll be in the podcast.
Yeah,
So
it will be.
thanks for sticking around, podcast listeners. You get to hear that little fun rant.
Yeah.
Yeah, they end up on this beach, and they see like some what is it called? It's like a rider or something like that. It's like a
Oh yeah.
It's literally
like
like
a ski.
it's like
yeah.
a ski, but it's like a buggy. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
What do you call it in real life? Ski something? No, water buggy
Water buggy. Yeah.
or something like that. You know what I mean?
Buggy D clown. No, I'm just kidding,
Monkey
sorry.
D buggy.
Monkey D buggy.
No, but yeah, they're attacked by a man in the mask. Oh yeah. They're attacked by a man in the mask, aren't they? It like someone's
Yes.
attacks them, but they get defended by a knight in the sky. Really cool off the bat. He's completely is the opposite of what I think of One Piece, because he's on a flying horse and he's like wearing a knight. He's wearing a knight armor, holding like a jousting lance or something like that. Really cool. I'm like, whoa, we're gonna be like in a medieval setting. I was thinking, you know what I mean? Because he completely doesn't match anything like that we've seen so far. But it's really but yeah. Other than that, the entire town is like, oh, you heathens, like whatever. Like you're like Nero will like lay justice on you, and like you're gonna die or something like that.
Mhm.
And there's like this thing called Heaven's Gate, which no one is supposed to like go through. Like no one's supposed to enter, whatever, because you're just not supposed to, apparently. But it's like essentially like a jungle ride.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah, and then Nami witnesses like this giant beam from the sky, like destroying like these natives or whatever.
Yeah.
And this is like where it really like where like even while I was reading it, I'm like, what the heck is happening? You know what I mean?
The only part of this I remember is when Sanji, Luffy, and Usopp were on a boat, and Luffy does a Sanji impression, and he gets kicked in the face, and he goes, Sanji impression, and he goes, why are you eating all the food?
Yeah.
and
And
stuff
then,
like that.
yeah, that's when they're trying to catch it to the ship.
Yeah.
But literally, the only thing I can actually remember, they go in, they get like the girl who was helping them before tries to get them there, but she ended up she ends up like betraying them, but not really, because she has no choice or whatever, because she's gonna get sent off to die if she does or something. Which really sucks. Like, what kind of god would do this or whatever, do this to their people or whatever. Enel is the name they keep yelling all the time. But Nami gets lost or something, and they go in there, and then stuff happens. The ship ends up on an altar. People are like, you're skipping. Literally, I cannot remember anything, because even when I was 2 chapters, I read 2 chapters, I'm like, what the hell happened 2 chapters ago? So the ship ends up getting there, and then there's these guardians or something like that. There's these 3 guardians that have 3 challenges.
We also didn't talk about the knight who saved him
I
at the
did.
beginning.
I
Oh,
did.
you did?
I briefly mentioned it.
What am I doing?
No,
what
I know,
am
right?
I doing here?
That was me reading Skypiea. I'm like, who's that guy?
Sorry, keep going.
No, yeah, but we get Waver. That was the name of the thing I was thinking of. That runs on dials. I'm like, what's a dial? I'm like, oh, it's a thing. But we don't get explained until later. But dials are pretty cool. One of the unique things that this arc introduces. But they get introduced to the Guardians when because they all go their way to rescue Nami, because the ship is stuck on a sacrificial altar and they can't move or whatever.
Yeah.
So they go through the Milky Road and they run into the challenge of balls, I think.
Why did you say it like that?
Or it's
the
called
trial of the balls.
No, that's what it's called. The challenge of
I
balls.
know, but why did you say it like balls?
I'm trying to remember. I'm literally. I did not mean it as a joke whatsoever. But I think Enel lives in the upper yard, and that's where he resides. The god Enel, or Enel, whatever.
Yeah.
And they're trying to go through these things while I think Chopper stays on the ship, and then the Sky Knight saves him again because Chopper blows the whistle that he gives him. Really cool, and it makes him seem wow, somebody who can actually fight. But eventually it gets revealed that they're able to fight these guys seem so much stronger because A, they're way up high in the clouds and like the altitude's different and like, it has an effect on them, and B, not so spoiler, but spoiler alert because I'm jumping now. There's something called mantra. Really interesting. Apparently, they can not read minds, but they're able to tell a person's location by reading. It's kind of like Ki. To me, I was able to relate it to that. Like, oh, it's like Ki, or oh, it's like Aura, Nen from like Hunter x Hunter. You're able to just tell a person's movement, or you're able to tell where a person is, or how many people are like at a certain location. I don't know if it's exactly reading of minds. Maybe it was explained like that, but I completely forgot. But it kind of felt like that. But the way that these that the people of Skypiea and the Shandians, who are the other natives, they're apparently clashing with Skypieans because they're fighting, even though they're all on this island. They're able to have this, not power, but they have mantra, which are able to read. Really cool, and I'll explain why, but that is a reason why they're not. Like, you're like, whoa, they just fought crocodile, like 7 warriors of the sea. How the hell could they be losing to these nobodies? Which is my mind. I was like super confused, like why? You know what I mean?
Yeah, no kidding.
Which is one of the things I was super confused on. But what else happens? The balls happen. They defeat this challenge.
Yeah. There's also that moment where they're riding in the boat. Where they're riding in the boat and they fall off like a cliff or something, and Luffy or somebody was like, there's not a cliff there, or like, how far down could it go? And they were like, like, I thought they fell off the edge. Like, I was like, well, Luffy, Sanji, and Usopp aren't going to be in the rest of this arc. You know?
I remember like Luffy was like holding on to like the ship, and he kept getting hit like like trees and like whatever. I think if I remember correctly. Pretty funny.
It was really funny. Yeah.
But what else happens? I don't know. We cut to like Nero. Like we see like who Nero is. He has like these giant circles behind him, and he looks very godlike. Super long earlobes, blonde-looking guy. He has this plan that he's gonna destroy like the island or something, or at least like, oh, the plan is coming, like, make way, there's gonna be like 92 players or like something, and like this is a game and only us will like survive or whatever. He's like, and he's already building up like to, even though I'm like at this point when I was reading the manga, I'm like, okay, I kind of don't care, but I want to see you get punched in the face.
That's what Edgar gets from this.
Even in the lowest of lows of enjoyability with like One Piece, Oda just finds a way to have me hype up like when Luffy gets to you, he's really gonna give it to you, which I really like.
Yeah.
But we get introduced to some certain characters, like a little girl named Isa or Asa. I don't know how you want to pronounce her name. It's a little girl.
I think it's Asa.
A Shandian. And Viper, who's like the leader, a warrior of the Shandian, leader of these people. What else happens? I'm just literally trying to remember now. Robin being historical person that she is, and like archaeologist. Is she an archaeologist? Is that her title officially? I think so. I can't remember. But she like discovers like ruins.
Yes.
Really cool. It actually looks El Dorado-esque. I other than like the actual Skypiea places that we were seeing, this El Dorado kind of has like, Incan Mayan like of, historical.
Yeah, there are some similarities between the Incas, and also how like, how the Indians, a nicer way of telling how the Indians and the Europeans met.
Oh yeah, because we get told that like that the Shandians were basically kicked off their land.
Yeah,
one way or another. And like, but you're all up here. How could you kick each other off? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And so like the Luffy and the gang are like, this doesn't make any sense.
And also, what's his face? The guy with the crown. From the backstory, we get his real, true backstory.
Oh I want to mention that when we get the backstory of Skypiea, the best part, in my opinion.
Yes, yeah.
For some reason, like
until the end of the arc.
But
the end has a really good climax.
But like literally, once we get to the backstory, like one chapter, I'm like, are you seriously just gonna do a cutaway to an arc I really don't care about? Because I really don't like it when they do backstories. But like, I was
it's really good.
Another chapter, and I'm like, okay, this is better than the actual arc.
No, definitely.
But really good story between Nolan, the liar, but not an actual liar. He meets these Shandians,
Yeah.
and there's like a misunderstanding. He's like a botanist, and he likes discovering lands and whatever.
Yeah.
And he wants to help these people who are dying, and they were trying to sacrifice this woman. Like, why? What is the matter with you people? And then like,
Yeah.
I forgot his name, Rocky, right? No, not Rocky.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who was the leader of the Shandians back then? The old people.
No idea.
Oh, I'm trying to remember.
Absolutely no clue.
Let me try to skip ahead and see if I can look at the characters.
I
names.
literally
I know.
I literally could not tell you.
There's Malt Black Nolan, and we have. Just trying to look through the names. I'm sorry, people.
It's okay. You look up the names. Didn't the ending happen like they thought that he betrayed the Shandians, or they thought that Nolan betrayed them?
they I can't remember the leader of the Shandians from like the old time, from the back in the backstory. They help them. They really get along. Like the leader of the Shandians is like laughing with them. I know he has red hair. I just can't remember his name for the life of me. But Nolan gets along with them. Everything seems right. The pirates are getting along with the Shandians there. Everything seems okay. He's like, hey, look at the city of gold, but this is our bell. It's the most treasured thing. We ring it. And I think that's the reason why Nolan came, because the sound was so beautiful, apparently.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, it's so beautiful. We're friends now. And it seems like all of a sudden they hate him. Like they come back and it's like, get out of here. And like, I don't want to see you. I'm literally gonna kill you.
This is a good story.
Yeah,
if I remember correctly,
it's so like, I thought we were friends. Like, what's going on? Like we're all friends now. And then they like, all right, we're gonna go on our ship and we're gonna leave if that's what you want. I thought we had a friendship. I don't understand. And the girl was like coming. One of the girls from the flashback, a different girl, the one who's going to be sacrificed, goes up to the Nolan's pirates and says, how could you like I don't understand, like the pirates are like, what's wrong? Like, and she's like explaining like, you chopped down the trees. How could you do that? This is like our ancestral home. Like those trees are like part of like our religion. Like their ancestors are tied to us, or like whatever, something like that.
Once again, that's what a lot of Native Americans thought about. There's actually something going on in well, I shouldn't say, but in a specific manga.
It's like Avatar too, like in the story, in the film Avatar.
There is something that's going on in one of my favorite mangas that is happening in. So yeah.
But it's like it has a tie, and then the pirates explain like, no, stupid. Listen, they didn't say it like that, but like, listen, we cut down those trees because some of them were dying because of a rare disease that has killed centuries of people ago, that has killed our people too, and it was what's causing your disease. We cut the dead ones down, but we didn't want to cut any further.
Yeah.
Nolan is a botanist. He cares for all life and all trees. He only killed the bad ones, essentially.
Yeah.
And then the shock on this girl's face is like, oh my God, we are the dum-dums.
Yeah, exactly.
And she goes running to like the Shandians and explains what's happening. And then once he realizes what was happening, he's like, oh man, we screwed the pooch on this one.
Oh yeah.
And then they come running. They're like, everyone's like, no, wait, stop. We have to stop him from leaving. And then Nolan's like on the ship.
Nolan's
and
like,
then
I'll come back. Don't
they
worry.
miss them.
Yeah.
And then they start ringing the bell. And it's like, come back, because like we're sorry. Like it was a misunderstanding. Come back. Hear the spell and return. And when you hear the spell, let it guide your way back home, back here. And we'll welcome you again as friends. And we apologize. Really, I think this is the most heartwarming scene and like the best scene in my opinion of this entire saga. It tells a story of a misunderstanding, a new bond friendship, and it's really good. I was like, how is this in the same saga, in the same arc? And not to say that this entire arc was like due to water. I've read worse arcs. I've seen worse arcs. It's just in terms of like enjoyability, it was really hard to get through. But it was all the well worth it, because this entire backstory was really nice. And then we see like I can't remember if Nolan comes back again.
Nolan does come back.
Yeah,
again.
He comes back and like
it's like not there.
Yeah, and then he's like, "Hey, king of this whatever land, let's come to this place. It's beautiful. You should check it out." And this king already looks like not trustworthy, but regardless, like, "All right, I'll send all my men with you." And then they got there and like, There's like nothing. It's like the land, like the piece that we
Yeah.
see earlier that like Robin was talking about. Like this is older than everything else. Like it's weird, and it's like cut off in half for some reason. It's like an entrance,
Yeah.
and we see it like that. It's gone, and like oh, now it makes sense why the island kind of like chomped off like for a second because of some. I guess the knock-up stream from back then just ended up under the island, right?
Yeah, it did.
And then it gets like, and then all the Shandians, poor guys, get sent up to Skypiea, and the Skypeans were already there. I thought, for some reason, they were all Skypeans or something, or they split in half. But no, it turns
Yeah.
out Skypeans were always in the sky. They were always in Skypiea, but
Yeah.
the Shandians unfortunately get placed there and into the lands. And then the god at that time, or I don't know, it was Enel is the name, but what is the title that they give him? Enru or something.
Inaru is his name. I think Enel is the name of the title.
Oh, okay.
Inaru is his name. And Enel is the name of like God or something like that.
Okay. So either way, vice versa, the god or the Enel of at that time is like, it's what do they call it? Vars. There you go.
Yeah.
They call it Vars. It's a gift from like it belongs to us because it's a gift, and the Shandians were like, this is our land. Like, where is our, like, we belong here. Like, this is all we have. Like, we're lost and whatever. And at first, like, the Shandians come across as, even though Skypeans already look uptight and, like, snotty and, like, rich and clearly have, like, a civilization and, like, Shandians already look like natives. But even then, I'm like, okay, who cares? Y'all both clearly just have, like, differing opinions. But I'm like, what is wrong? Like, this is their land. They got sent up without their consent, and now, like,
Speaking of Avatar, you know what the story, now that you're explaining it to me, you know what it reminds me of?
Pocahontas?
No, it reminds me of the only filler episode in Avatar, The Great Divide.
Oh, yeah.
How the people all in white and they're all regal and stuff, and then the more snobby, like down to those people, they're not snotty, but they're more like in tune with like nature and stuff like that, and they don't mind getting their hands dirty. That's kind of remind me of.
No, yeah. But
Sorry, keep going.
no, parallel between this is already like a difference in class. But regardless, the Shandians were wrongly taken off their land, and it was unfortunate. But either way, not all. That's just like Enel, he's the Enel, the god. It's like only he is like the one who like claims this Vars and whatever. And over time, even the knight, I forgot his name, Gon.
Yeah, I don't know. He used to be the old
Enel, or like the old, like, the title, whatever. And but he was good, and he wanted peace between the Shandians and the Skypeans. All to say, that entire backstory, really good. I really liked it.
Yeah, very good.
But up in the present time, Luffy and the gang, they're all like having their their fights. Oh my god! For some reason, Luffy was like pissing me off because in the midst of all the fighting between the Shandians and Enel's people, Luffy was in the snake and he was like, "What's with this cave?" And he keeps punching it. I'm like, Luffy, you idiot! Can you like stop moving around and use your brain for like 1 second? I don't know why. I was just like unjustifiably angry with Luffy at that moment.
one of a fascinating thing about Luffy is that he's either always not there, doesn't care, or falls asleep anytime there's a backstory.
And it always causes a misunderstanding.
Yeah, well, that too, but it also just shows how good of a person he is. He doesn't need a reason to protect the weak and protect the unfortunate. He's always there to do it, which makes me...
I felt bad for that snake, though, to the point I'm like, can you stop hurting this poor snake? And especially now that we know it was like a really old snake from the same one that Nolan knew. But yeah, Enel, God, I'm gonna look up his name. This is pissing me off now. I'm like really getting mad that I can't confirm which one it is. Let's see right here. Kami. Oh, we got it wrong.
You mean God in Japanese, Kami?
How did I forget the?
How did you forget Kami?
All right, we're back now. I just figured out we've been saying it wrong. It's not Enel or Emeru. It's Kami.
Yeah.
Enru. It's.
Kami is God in Japanese.
Yeah, Kami is the title that was given. I think his name is Enru.
There are multiple Japanese or gods in Japan, and they go like, oh.
I think Enel is a place. No, it's his. His name is Enel. Is his name.
And Eneru might mean lightning or something like that. Because it might be Kami, Eneru, Kami of lightning, or it might be because I know that there is like Kami of Harvest, Kami of Fire, or stuff like that.
And another, yeah, that was his name, Kami. Luffy and Kami's the Kami and NL. His power is like OP, and he like basically wipes out all the Straw Hats that face up against him. And Luffy was stuck in the snake, and he ends up running up there and goes to the ship where Nami is, who tricks NL. Well, not tricks him. He's like, "Oh, I'm on your side. Just don't kill me, please." But on a small tangent, but not really. One of the biggest complaints I have about this entire arc is they introduce way too many side characters all at once, and they give that's the reason why I had such a hard time thinking. Was it Kami and Nell? Who's the night guy? Shandians?
Edgar.
I'm like, what are?
Oh, Edgar.
But it's like
there's one arc that I can't wait for you to get to. There is one arc where every chapter there's like 5 new characters.
Oh, no.
It's crazy. I hated it at first, but I actually really enjoy that arc.
But
so,
like
yeah.
that was one of the things I was like thinking of. I just kept stopping. I'm like, it is. I don't know what the hell is going on. I don't know who any of these people, and I lightly don't care. But like, but I'm like Kami and Nell, Shandians, and like it's too much. Yeah. Too much for me, and I think it's justifiable to say that is not good. That is like one of it was not really good to throw us in this world and to give us way too many names at once and too many things. I feel like Oda had a good thing going. I just feel like he bit more than he can chew. He had good things to offer. He just wanted to shove it all in this like one arc.
Yeah, I think he had an idea, and then that just this is just how it came out, and I don't think it was the best.
One of the things I liked about it, Enel, really good villain.
Good villain, right?
Because not only is he I like it when Luffy has to think, and he has to like not really think, but he has to put in an effort in when fighting his villains. I don't think it ever happens with Arlong, but it does happen with Crocodile. Luffy is in this desert. He can't touch Crocodile, so he has to use water to land hits on him.
Yeah.
So when he does, it's a really step forward in the fight, and it's really rewarding when it happens. Mm-hmm. Same things when Crocodile tries to take the water away from him, so he uses his blood. Yeah. Really genius way in writing villains. Same thing goes with Enel. As much as I hate like everything, not hate everything, but as much as confusion that's going on when reading this arc, I really like that. I'm like, oh, it's lightning, but it is unfortunately it was spoiled for me. Which is like, come on!
But
like,
you know, Luffy. You knew Luffy.
No, but it didn't click. But it would have clicked because I feel like for most viewers, it would have been like a moment. Like, you know what I mean? It makes sense. He's rubber and it's lightning. It doesn't like.
For me, I was like, when I saw his power was lightning, I was like, well, that's not gonna do anything to Luffy because we saw in chapter 100 that he got struck by lightning on.
But like 200 chapters like later.
Yeah, 200 chapters will do that.
I feel like, and I get the feeling that it's a moment, that really cool moment for like first viewers, but unfortunately was spoiled for me.
You also have to remember that I probably know like more what happens, like the specifics of each arc, even though it was a couple of years ago, because I read it on Discord when the COVID was happening. I read it on Discord with my friends, and we would talk about it afterwards. So like I would read like 10 chapters, and then Asal, me, and Alec, we would talk about it. Yeah, so like I knew like like we would talk about in depth about like what happened and all the connections.
I just get the feeling. I mean, the way I only tell you when I finish a saga or if something really really funny or big happens. I rarely talk about it. I rarely talk about my journey with you, even though you've read it. I just go through One Piece and then all right, Ben, let's just start recording.
It would be hard to find stuff to talk about in the podcast if we didn't.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I feel like I would have had that reaction, and I kind of feel bad that I got spoiled on like so many things. When Ben has already been shocked by the things I've been spoiled on, and
not shocked. I'm just more disappointed.
Yeah, and I feel like you guys will too. Like, oh really? Yeah. But at the same time, you One Piece fans are like the worst spoilers ever. You can't keep anything close to the chest whatsoever.
Yeah, so you hold this L.
Hold it exactly. But really good moment nonetheless.
Yes.
And it poses a really good villain up against Luffy because yes, while lightning does not affect him, there are other things that he has. Mantra, very good way of putting another roadblock in Luffy's way of fighting him. So
Yeah.
it's like, oh, I can't use this, but I'll use this, and I'll use lightning to heat up as a good conductor to heat up metal. And it's just a really good villain. I thought something like this would have been like a good final villain for Luffy. Not really, but in another manga, I guess. Or if one were reading this firsthand, blindly, not knowing that it ends, that it keeps going for 1,000 chapters.
Yeah.
One would think that this would be the final villain in terms of his power and the way he's set up to be, because of how opposites, not really, they are. Because I don't know, rubber and lightning is that's like his opposite. You know what I mean? That's such a genius way of putting an opponent against Luffy, and then how even then Mantra, Enel has Mantra to counter Luffy. So what does Luffy do? He doesn't think. So he's using instincts to dodge, and it's really cool. And then there's that meme of of Luffy like, you know,
damn Daniel. And then
but obviously, and then there's a famous I've been spoiled on. It's like the reaction to him to Enel with the lightning not working.
And of course, you know, he has we have those memes of the Ultra Instinct theme playing with Luffy, and it's like dum dum da, 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 you know, Ultra Instinct from Dragon Ball Super. But now that we're here at the fight, let's just talk about these highlights, because the fight goes on for quite a long time.
Yeah,
so,
I just know that Luffy gets sent down again, and then he gets back up, and then the ship that Enel built was flying, and then Enel's shooting lightning and essentially is going to destroy Skypiea itself.
We kind of get also, Enel was like, why don't you come join me, Nami? And Nami for the first time was kind of like, no, you know, Nami, she shows her dedication.
Yeah,
you know,
at first
Luffy.
she's tries to trick him. She's like, don't kill me, because she got wiped out by everybody. But then she's like, in the end, no. Yeah,
we got that awesome panel. One of my favorite panels of the series. I actually think it might be on our intro for Shonen Junk. It's the panel where Inaru shocks Sanji, and Sanji goes, "Thanks, I needed to light my cigarette." And
really?
And
I mean, I know that happens. I just didn't know that was your favorite.
Yeah, it's one of the, I think, best panels in the series, and it just looks so cool. Like, he's all beaten and bruised, and he's like, and when Sanji, Zoro, and Luffy do cool things, I always think Sanji has the best one-liners in terms of thanks, I needed to light my cigarette. You know, it's just so great. He's awesome.
But really cool fight. I mean, this is when I picked up the manga and I started reading. I read it within 3 days now, because it's when it got good, in my opinion. Because literally once the backstory started, I'm like, I'm in. You know what I mean? I'm in all the way.
Oh my god, I forgot Chopper was in this arc. What the heck does Chopper do?
He just stayed behind on the boat, remember? And then the knight rescued him. But I think I don't think anything else. He fights in the he gets,
because there's a big battle with I only remember Zoro's fighter.
See, that's what
Zoro's
I know.
fight.
It happened in Alabasta, but the way it was handled here, and a thing I don't like is oh, you go fight them, and you go fight them, and then we'll see. Oh, this fight. Oh, this fight.
I like
this
that.
fight. I don't like it really, and
I like it so much better than what other mangas do, which is make somebody not relevant. You know, I like it because it keeps every character of the Straw Hat important in a sense, and I thought Alabasta is probably one of the best ways I've ever seen it done.
It worked there.
Yeah,
and I've seen it happen in other mangas. That's not inherently that's not my favorite way of doing fights, but it definitely didn't work here, and it was one of the things I didn't like.
No,
about
it definitely
because
did
I
not,
didn't know, because with Alabasta it showed you, here's this gate, that's where they are. Here's this gate, that's where they are. Here's this gate, that's where this is. But with Skypiea, I'm I don't know where anything is. It did show a map, but I'm still confused.
But there's also,
it's all a jungle.
Yeah, you'll get to a point where in a One Piece arc you go, okay, that person's gonna fight that person's gonna fight that person, you know. But they do it, especially in post time skip, they make it really, really, really interesting on who fights who and what goes on. But Water 7 actually does a really, really good job of it, because it's more of a war kind of thing going on. But,
spoiler.
But that's not a spoiler.
I didn't know that. I didn't know it was a war.
Edgar, you know one of the best parts about Water 7, so you shut your mouth.
I'm trying to think about it. What is it? Oh, whatever. Yeah.
Anyway, but I literally just did something you knew I was talking about. But yeah, so we get this nice little fight, and then my favorite part, minus the Blackbeard part, my favorite part of the manga, and I thought it was a really nice punctuation to the end, is when Luffy rings the bell.
Yeah,
really nice.
There's always some. It's like so far every saga has had a moment like that. It's like when Vivi yells and stops the army.
Yeah, they
in
put
the bomb.
Yeah.
Or that moment too. It's like a moment of triumph, and it's really nice when the pirates down there. I forget what his name is. Cricket Blanc or something. When he hears the bell and then he starts like tearing up, and I like that moment. It's like, what should we do now? It's like, well, do you still want to work for me? You want to go on more adventures? Like, it was a nice moment.
Yeah,
I like that a lot.
It was good.
And the Shandians, make peace with the Skypeans, and then Enel's defeated. I think he falls down or something like that, right?
No, so Enel gets defeated, but he gets to escape and do what he wants. He flies towards the moon.
Oh yeah.
Remember, and you should be at the point where you're seeing those opening panels, right? About Enel Inaru. Okay, well you'll get there eventually. But
I thought he died or something.
No, he's not dead. He's alive.
Oh man.
But Luffy doesn't really kill villains. They don't really die.
Oh
when
well,
Luffy
I can't wait
fights
till he
them.
does.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, the bell's rung.
And that harkens back from like the past. That we saw,
which is really nice. It's a really
Yeah.
that's what I mean. Like some history behind it, and a really nice moment. What else happens? They make peace. Oh yeah, I completely forgot. I mean, I mentioned the dials, but another reason why the Straw Hats,
dials are nice. Right?
Another reason why the Straw Hats had such a hard time fighting the Shandians and the Skypeans and then Hanel's like warriors was because the dials, like impact dials and like the dials that hold in certain like anything, gases like water or whatever, which hold a real advantage over the Straw Hats.
Yeah,
it's really cool. The impact dial like has like a lot of power. You know what I mean? Which makes them pretty good fighters. But what else happens? I think that's pretty much
that's
the
pretty
end.
much it. And then we get a nice moment where they kind of say goodbye to everyone and peace is restored, and we kind of get that theme in a lot of One Piece arcs where they leave the island and peace is restored. And
there's always a feast.
Yeah.
You know?
There's always
they always
a feast,
eat at the end. You know what I mean?
And they take like this nice little balloon down to this nice little like octopus kind of looking balloon.
Oh, we see Doflamingo. He ends up on Jaya Island or Jaya.
Oh, do we?
Yeah, he ends up like, hey, I heard this bell happen. Or he was there, he was chilling, and then he was talking with
Dofi was just hanging out.
He was talking with Bellamy. He was talking with Bellamy.
Oh.
I don't know what they're talking about, but Bellamy mentioned the ringing of the bell or something.
Wow,
like that.
Really?
Yeah.
He was talking with Bellamy.
Yeah, let me show you.
Dude, that is like...
what? I didn't know it was a big deal, but let me see right here. It's like in the last 5 chapters of the Skypiea Arc.
Wow. There is a part in chapter 700, or around the 700 reigns, that is actually pretty big with this.
It really happens right when they ring the bell or something like that. Okay, this is the feast. Okay, he's the moon. So it's like
Imagine listening to this out of context.
It's right out.
Here's the feast, and now he's the moon, and then he rung the bells.
Oh yeah, and then while
I'm
looking for this, there's also the moment with Robin. She like looks at the poneglyph. I kind of don't know what this is.
That's an important moment.
Is it
the poneglyphs will become?
What is it in the terms of now? I don't know what is it like. I don't.
What can I
is it
say?
like originally the poneglyph that she was like? Is it just the history of the world or something like that?
Yes. So the poneglyph, they said that the last person who had all the poneglyphs was Goldie Roger, right? And Goldie Roger, what did he do to become the Pirate King? He went to the end of the world. He went to the final island in the Grand Line. So like the poneglyph is assumedly going to tell them the secrets of the world. I don't know if you've gotten to the point where they talk about the 500-year void Have they talked about that
I don't
yet?
think
No.
so.
Okay. Well, that's not a without context it means nothing. But you'll see what it is eventually, and the pawn glyphs are a major part of the story. So yes.
All right, so I have it right here. It's in chapter 303. Bellamy's having this fight with this other guy. And then Doflamingo's right here, and he says, "Is there a sky island or isn't there? Is El Dorado an illusion or is it not?" And then he's like and then Bellamy's like right there, and like
I have no memory of this
they're
chapter.
like chatting. They're like chatting up. Isn't Bellamy like a pirate? Doesn't
Bellamy is a pirate, and
I thought he worked for Doflamingo, right?
he does. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
and he was there.
So
It's
yeah,
finally
that's,
started.
That's gonna be crazy, dude.
He's like, "I don't need you in my crew," or it's like whatever. And he's like, "Haha, hurry up and make preparations. The time has come when real pirates will survive. Those without power had better run while they can, like an unstoppable wave. A new age of
Wow.
unmatched power is coming." Yeah,
Man, I didn't even. God, that's so crazy. I didn't even think of that.
yeah. But I
Um,
think they were talking about Luffy in terms of the rookie or whatever.
Yeah, dude,
But-
that's crazy.
Yeah, but really cool stuff.
You think that's it, right?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Because like they get down, like the octopus, they float
Yeah.
down, as you said.
Give us a nice little outro.
All in all, 6 out of 10. Would
Yeah.
probably not read again. No, but it wasn't that bad. It was.
Yeah,
a pretty,
I was. I thought you were gonna trash it. You did. You did actually.
well, because I
pretty
can't
good
remember
job.
anything.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, it's the weakest arc in my opinion so far.
Yeah.
Not real close, but almost as bad at my opinion. Buggy Orange Town was Buggy.
Yeah,
Buggy
yeah.
Decline. I really don't
All
like
right,
that arc.
you're bringing up that old movie
No,
again.
no. I mean, I just really
Yeah, I know.
don't remember a thing from that arc anymore. But it had a lot of surprises. Like I said, there was an expectation set. I kept hearing it was the worst arc. I don't think that had any infringement on my opinion of this arc. I think because I feel like if that happened, I would have just probably skipped it or just had oh man, this is garbage. But there were things I found funny. There were a lot of things that I really liked, and the biggest surprise was the backstory, the highlight of this arc for me. And some interesting stuff happened. And I asked Ben, like, does it get any worse than this, or is there any worse arcs? And I was like, yeah, there's like maybe one, but regardless,
There's one that's worse, but it's really short.
Okay.
And there is one that I think is a little bit better than this. It definitely has much better moments, and I remember everything that happens in the arc. But there's one arc that drags on a little bit, but you'll get there. You'll
But
see.
I don't want to put myself at a high expectation. But from what Ben has told me, and what I've been hearing, is that it's an uphill ride from here on out. And I have
He's entering into Water 7, boys.
Yeah. And this arc I read, this first arc in Water 7 Saga is really good. It's a good start, and I went through it by really quickly, and now I'm in actual Water 7 arc, and I'm like I have no expectations in a sense, but I keep hearing great things. So this arc and Saga was not a breeze to get through, but it was still a surprising one.
Great.
A surprise, to be sure, but a welcome one.
It's a bit rich, but all right. That's great.
Yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed our not really coherent review, but our highlights and talk and discussion on this saga and this arc in One Piece. We will be back on the podcast when the next saga comes, and on YouTube, if you're listening, we'll be back when the next arc comes.
Yeah.
It'll be a long journey, but I hope you guys are enjoying it so far, and we'll see you guys.
Before we go, Edgar.
Oh, we got something else.
Yes, we do have something else. Just real quick.
Stop.
YouTube. Just put. We're gonna have a little bit of segments. A little segment, just 2 minutes.
Oh yeah, I completely.
Done.
I'm sorry, Ben.
No, you're good. Don't worry. Don't worry. That was a long time ago. YouTube has given us the ability to make posts, right, on our community.
Look at that.
Way earlier than everybody else, because they thought we've been doing such a good job with watch time and views and all that stuff. So they were like, we'll give you this early, because we were originally only supposed to get it at 500 subscribers. But this week, and a way to interact with all of you guys now, is we are going to make a poll once a week on our YouTube channel. Go check that out. Polling's going to end every Wednesday. It's going to also begin a new poll every Wednesday. And then we're going to talk about it at the end, what won, and then talk about in the comments, if you guys posted anything, why you chose that. and then we're going to make a new one every single week just to kind of get the interaction.
Cool.
This week, here is the question. Itadori is the main protagonist of Jujutsu Kaisen, but Gojo and Yuta carry major portions of the story. Which is your favorite Jujutsu Kaisen protagonist? Yuta from Jujutsu Kaisen 0, Itadori from the mainline series Jujutsu Kaisen, or Gojo in the Gojo Past arc? So let us know what you think. Vote on it. Put it in the comments. And if you write in a comment there, we'll shout it out next week. And we'll go from there.
Coolio. Vote in real life and here.
Yeah.
And we'll see
it's
you guys.
voting time.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
Do it.
Do it now. Either way, we've had a lot of fun here. We'll see you guys in the next saga, in life, and in One Piece. My name is Edgar.
And I'm Ben.
And we approve of this message.
Peace. Bye.